From Camden Yards in Baltimore, ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball presents the New York Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles. Hi, everybody. Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez with you tonight, and we should have a dandy, the Yankees and the Orioles. And let's start with New York and left-hander Kenny Rogers, a 17-game winner last year, a $20 million contract. This guy has trouble just getting in the rotation.
Well, he sure has, Dan. He was injured on a line drive off the bat of Tony Fernandez way back in spring training, and he was cut behind the rest of the starters, so he wasn't quite ready. He didn't really break with this ball club, and Kenny Rogers is a finesse pitcher. He needs touch. He needs to have command of the changeup, and he's just now starting to get that. He's won 46 games since becoming a starter with the Texas Rangers. Only Randy Johnson and Tom Glavine have won more. He's really a tough customer when he gets ready and his timing is there.
And keep an eye on the matchup between Rogers and Brady Anderson tonight. Anderson leads the American League in home runs, but just 3 for 18 lifetime against Rogers with 8 strikeouts. About Anderson and the Orioles, the offense is still pretty hot, but they can't win any games.
No, they can't. It's really been the starting pitching that has caused them problems. They're still scoring runs. Davey Johnson saw his club get off to a great start, going 11-2. But the thing about that is it came against Kansas City, Minnesota, and Boston, sub-500 ball clubs. They really got roughed up by the Texas Rangers, losing 6 of 7, and their pitching staff has really been exposed when they face tough hitters like this Yankee lineup tonight.
Yankees won 13-10 last night in 4 hours and 21 minutes. Kenny Rogers and David Wells of the Orioles hoping to have a quicker, better pitch game tonight.
ESPN Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Lennox. For the finest in home heating and cooling, Lennox. One less thing to worry about.
We're in for a...
Camden Yards in Baltimore, we get you ready for the second and final game of this 2-game mini-series between the top 2 teams in the American League East, the New York Yankees and the Baltimore Orioles. Here's the Yankee lineup. Wade Boggs was out last night, back in there tonight, leading off against the left-hander Wells. Paul O'Neill leads the American League with a .400 average right now. Tito Martinez is getting hot, a big home run last night. And super sub Mariano Duncan is hitting .360, playing pretty much every day at second base in place of the injured Pat Kelly.
Happy birthday. This has been a left-handed series. All 4 starters in this 2-game series have been left-handed. David Wells goes to the mound tonight, makes his 6th start of the season. He's just 2-2. And Wells, like so many pitchers in this rotation for Baltimore, really struggling a bit with command of his breaking pitch. That has been a problem. Just 3 home runs, which is a good number, considering this will be his 5th start in this cozy ballpark here at Camden Yards. Defensively, the Orioles really haven't played as well as you would expect. Last year, they led the American League defensively. Alomar and Ripken, they're solid up the middle, and Palmeiro has always been a very good fielder. But so far this season, he's committed as many errors as he made all of last year. 4 errors for the very good fielding first baseman Rafael Palmeiro is somewhat surprising. This might be the best fielding infield in the major leagues, but they're having some troubles here early on.
David Wells set to go, and so is the leadoff man for the Yankees, third baseman Wade Boggs. He'll take a curveball strike.
That's very significant because we had talked to Chris Hoyles about the pitchers struggling with their breaking ball, and he comes out tonight and starts Boggs off with a curveball.
And a fastball hit into right field, a base hit. Alomar gave it his all, but couldn't come up with it, and Boggs is aboard.
Wade Boggs starting tonight, sat out last night against Arthur Rhodes. Here he gets a fastball. Wells just kind of left it up out over the plate. Even Alomar with that great range can't flag it down, and Wade Boggs has a single. Javi Alomar with a good attempt slides on the outfield grass but can't knock it down.
The leadoff man is on for the Yankees, and here's their young shortstop Derek Jeter. Jeter acquitting himself very well here in his rookie season. Hit a home run on opening day. He's been in a few different spots in the order, has predominantly hit 9th, has hit 8th, led off a couple of games, and now finds himself tonight in the number 2 spot.
I think Joe Torre is quickly finding out that he can put this young guy just about anywhere in the lineup. He has shown great discipline at the plate. Right now, he's got him in the 2 spot in the order against the left-hander Wells.
3-0-1 taken low. In the offseason, perhaps the middle infield for the Yankees projected to be Tony Fernandez and Pat Kelly. It's turned into Derek Jeter and Mariano Duncan.
Injuries have taken Kelly and Fernandez away from the Yankees this year. Mariano Duncan has really done a great job, particularly with the bat.
Well, 2 strikes to Jeter.
I asked Derek Jeter what he knew about David Wells. He said nothing. Haven't seen him before, just like the rest of the pitchers in the American League. I'm learning for the first time about a lot of guys.
And learning pretty well so far. Hitting at a 274 clip entering the game tonight. A ball and 2 strikes. Curveball, and he got him. And Jeter will remember that the next time around.
That's something we're going to keep our eye on through the course of this ball game. Just how effective Wells is getting the breaking ball over. It's a big curveball, catches the outside corner, and Derek Jeter kind of gave up on it. He saw it outside and gave up on it.
David Wells' best numbers against any American League team are against the New York Yankees. 12-4, 272, 2-0 against the Yankees last year. And now facing, at this point, the toughest out in the American League. Paul O'Neill is the league's leading hitter. And a strike on a fastball.
What a great start. 3 homers, 14 ribbies, and O'Neill is a very difficult guy to defend against because he uses the whole field. He'll go foul line to foul line, infield and outfield.
That's a fair ball. Hoyles will throw out O'Neill. Up to second on the play goes Boggs. 2 down.
Now that's one thing that really drives a good hitter crazy, is to take a half swing and cost yourself an at bat. O'Neill tries to check his swing, but the fastball runs in on his hands, and you can see Hoyles quickly out behind the plate. Richie Garcia signals it fair, and O'Neill is easily out at first. Well, that's a big out for David Wells. Get a tough hitter like O'Neill on a little tapper in front of the plate.
The batter is Ruben Sierra. 2 down, a runner at second. Top of the first inning, just underway at Camden Yards between the Yankees and the Orioles. Fastball outside. The lead at second, and the curveball on the appeal. No swing, says Gary Cederstrom, and it's 2 balls, no strikes.
Let's take a look at this check swing by Sierra. It's a curveball. He starts after it. And yeah, he did. Boy, he really fought to keep the barrel of that bat back, and he was successful.
The 2-0. Another curveball, and this one will catch the corner for strike 1.
Now he's having a chat with Richie Garcia, the home plate umpire, as to whether or not that ball indeed did catch the outside corner. Of course, Garcia is going to win that. Look at his batting stance. He has a very exaggerated closed stance and has that high front leg kick.
He tinkers with his stance every now and again, too. The leg kick and how open or closed he is.
Yeah, right now he's having a tough time staying on the ball outside. See that high leg kick, and he's actually pulling off that ball. That ball has got about 4 inches the outside corner, but he can't reach it right now because that front shoulder is flying open.
Boggs out at second, and now Wells wants a conversation with Chris Hoyles. Boggs led off the game with a base hit to right field. Now 2 down, 2 out.
Right now, Hoyles and Wells have to realize that Sierra can't get to anything on the outside part of the plate. So you don't want to even flirt with danger and come inside with the possibility of making a mistake. Sierra is just not swinging the bat that effectively from the right side because he hasn't seen a whole lot of left-handers yet. And Davey Johnson doesn't want to fall behind early. If you're going to miss here, in my mind, you got to miss away.
Orioles sets up away, and Wells hit the glove but missed outside with a fastball. It's a full count.
They got a base open with a left-handed batter on deck and Tino Martinez, so you still don't want to give in to Sierra.
Martinez, a big 3-run home run last night, leading the Yankees to a 13-10 victory here in Baltimore. Full count pitch, and Sierra pops it up. Brady Anderson in from center field to make the catch and retire the side, and Anderson and his 11 home runs will lead it off for the Orioles when we come back to Camden Yards. The bottom of the first inning. David Wells retiring the Yankees in the top half of the inning without any runs being scored. Brady Anderson leading the American League with 11 home runs, tying the all-time Major League record for the month of April. Davey Johnson said his goal right now is to get Bobby Bonilla going. Everybody's hitting the ball except Bonilla. Just a .198 with only 2 home runs so far this season.
Well, Bobby Bonilla is struggling. He's hitting under 200. Really having a tough time against left-handers like Kenny Rogers. Rogers makes his 3rd start of the season. Most starters like David Wells are making their 6th. He was late coming out of spring training. He got hit on a line drive, and that pushed him back. He wasn't on his regular rotation. He felt he was ready for the season, but Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre thought otherwise, and they kept him down in Florida. Fastball, curveball, very good changeup. He's got a cutter he'll use on the inside part of the plate to the right-handers. Defensively, Williams and O'Neill in the outfield. Gerald, a very good defensive outfielder in left field. Jeter and Duncan up the middle. Kenny Rogers is outstanding. Just 16 stolen bases allowed the last 5 seasons, and that's very important against this Oriole team. This is his first start against the Twins with Marty Cordova at first base, a good base runner. He picks them off, and they throw him out at second. He picked off 2 in that ball game. But with the part of the lineup that's up right now, Brady Anderson and Robbie Alomar running more, Kenny Rogers' ability to neutralize the running game very significant.
Anderson set to go, as is Kenny Rogers. And it's ball 1 from the left-hander. Anderson maybe not stealing quite as many bases as you might expect because of all those home runs. Look at what he has done. Led off 4 consecutive games with a home run back in the middle part of April, a major league record. But as we mentioned during the open of the show, he has struggled in his career against Kenny Rogers. Brady Anderson, fly ball, right field. Back is O'Neill. It's gone. Number 12 for the major league leader in home runs, Brady Anderson.
You can say all you want to about a juiced baseball, but in my mind, it's pitchers falling behind. This is a 2-ball, no-strike pitch, and watch Anderson's confidence. He knows he's going to get a good pitch. He's got Alomar hitting behind him. He gets a fastball, and he's a hot hitter right now, and he doesn't miss it.
Roberto Alomar, the batter. 5th leadoff home run of the season for Anderson. We mentioned the other 4 came consecutively from April 18th to 21st. And again, Buck, a 2-ball, no-strike count, this time to Roberto Alomar.
I don't care who you are, you just can't continue to put yourself into these hitter counts.
What a start to the '96 season for Brady Anderson. 11 home runs, tied the major league record in April. 16 career leadoff home runs. Alomar with a ground ball to the right side. Duncan will play it on to first, 1 down.
The first baseman, number 25, Rafael.
Brady Anderson off of Rogers hitting that home run. That's the 5th home run he's hit off left-handed pitchers this year. Prior to this year, he'd hit just 11 against lefties. He's a much more confident hitter. This is, I'm not saying he's a 12 home run hitter, but this is the type of offensive player that everyone thought he could be. Swinging with a lot of confidence now.
Rafael Palmeiro steps in. Orioles lead 1-0 on the Anderson home run. This really a crucial part of the lineup for Rogers to get through, with two left-handed hitters and a switch hitter Alomar, who is weaker from the right side, decided to face Rogers against him.
Palmera is really struggling to get going here. Look at this shift on the right side. Mariano Duncan playing him to pull, as is Tino Martinez. A big hole up the middle. Might be too much considering he's hitting a left-handed pitcher. Palmera trying to stay on the ball a little bit longer against Kenny Rogers because he's got that big breaking curveball.
First time tonight, Rogers ahead of the hitter, a ball and 2 strikes to Palmera. Comes in with a fastball. Palmera fouls it back.
I don't care who you are, how good a hitter you are, when you have 2 strikes on you, you cut your swing down. You're just trying to be protective of the plate, and you don't have that same aggressive swing. You've got basically a free swing with the count in your favor.
Brady Anderson had the free swing at 2-0 and took advantage. 1-2, and Palmeros popped it up on the infield. Rogers will make the catch. 2 down.
Nobody seemed too anxious to get to the mound, did they? The catcher Girardi was late coming out. Wade Boggs was way back at third base. Tino Martinez, the first baseman, was back. And Rogers said, hey, nobody's going to get it. I better take care of it. That was a good at-bat for Rogers. He got ahead, used the breaking ball, and finally got Palmera to pop up.
Two down now for Bobby Bonilla, who's out in right field tonight, but the big talk with Bonilla is the offensive production, or lack thereof. A 198 batting average, just a couple of home runs in a season in which everybody seems to be hitting the ball out of the park. Bobby Bonilla hasn't been a part of it. It's gotten even worse the last 6 games, and in part because of that, Davey Johnson has put Bonilla back in the field, hoping to help him out a little bit. Bonilla pretty much a career National Leaguer prior to coming over to the Orioles last year. Says he feels more comfortable as a two-way player. Davey Johnson doesn't want him dwelling on batted bats for 45 minutes or an hour. He wants him out in the field thinking about defense. Fastball 1-2 as it's fouled back.
Well, Bonilla, for most of his time in the National League, is got the mindset that you're a complete player if you play on defense. And you know, I'll give him some of that, but I think he's probably made a little bit more out of it mentally, and that might have been a situation where he talked himself into this thing. But he is going to hit. He's had a history of being a good hitter, and he's going to come out of this thing.
Devereaux DHing tonight as Bonilla sends a grounder out to short. A couple of hops for Jeter, and the Orioles are done in the first, but not before they take a 1-0 lead on Brady Anderson's leadoff home run. Yet another one. 5th leadoff homer, 12th homer of the season. The Orioles have an early 1-0 lead on the Yankees here at Camden Yards.
Goes back to Camden Yards in just a sec. Another AL East game going on right now. Roger Clemens facing the Detroit Tigers. Clemens off to an 0-4 start, winless in 6 starts. Early on, facing Chad Curtis and the Rockets. 1K, and then facing Cecil Fielder. Got 10 home runs this season. Alan Trammell off first. Cecil goes down swinging. Red Sox get 2 runs, and they are now into the bottom of the 3rd. Let's go back to Baltimore.
A couple of interesting things right there. Clemens with the strikeouts and Cordero with the RBI. A couple of guys that struggled early that may have contributed to that slow start for the Red Sox.
It is a long road back for the Red Sox, chasing these 2 teams right now, the Yankees and the Orioles in the American League East. Tino Martinez starting to get in gear, hit one of those 3 home runs last night, a big 3-run shot that gave the Yankees the lead, a lead they would hold on to the rest of the way in a wild 13-10 win over Baltimore. And in case you missed it, and because of how long the game was, you might have a 4-hour and 21-minute game. The longest 9-inning game in the history of Major League Baseball was played in this park last night between these 2 teams. Tino Martinez with a 2-0 count on him and a solid base hit up the middle.
Tino Martinez put a lot of pressure on himself when he first came over here to New York. He was replacing Mattingly, and he talked himself into a slump. But this is a great swing, a fastball. He rips it right over David Wells' head. Tino is a hitter that needs to concentrate left center to right center. That's where his power lies. He told me earlier that he was hitting the ball well, but not getting any hits, and because of that, he started to make some adjustments and got himself into a slump. Now he's starting to work out of it.
Here's center fielder Bernie Williams with Martinez at first. Nobody out in the Yankees second. 1-0 Baltimore is the score, and Williams has a base hit right center field. Martinez had to wait to see that Alomar couldn't make the catch, so he'll stop at second on the play.
Now there's a couple of guys in this lineup that are starting to warm up. Warming up with the weather, both Tino Martinez and Bernie Williams. Watch Martinez freeze at first base. Line drive, you got to make sure it goes through the infield. Alomar can't come up with it, so Tino can only move to second.
And the Yankees in business here, top of the second. Back-to-back singles by Martinez and Williams to lead it off. And here's one of the players who has really come through for New York in the early going, Mariano Duncan. The last few years, typically a super sub. Second, short, some outfield. He swings at the first pitch, grounded to third. Over to second for one, back to first, and Alomar short hop Palmeiro, and the run will score as Tino Martinez comes in on the play after the ball bounced away from Palmeiro.
This double play was really slow and unfolding. B.J. Surhoff, the third baseman, looked like he took an extra double clutch to throw the ball. Watch. Right there, the little hesitation off stride. Alomar throws in the dirt, and Palmeiro can't dig it out. This is what I mentioned when I said the Orioles weren't playing as well as they should be with all these good fielders. Alomar gets charged with an error. He rushed the throw, threw a sinker to Palmeiro, and he couldn't dig it out.
The batter is Gerald Williams, playing left field tonight. Good offensive numbers. Williams getting some time in the place of Tim Raines again this evening. And Gerald Williams cranks one. Deep left field and gone. Home run, Gerald Williams.
Gerald Williams has been on fire against left-handed pitching. Last night here against Arthur Rhodes, 2 doubles, and he gets a high fastball from David Wells, and he hammers it. No doubt in his mind. Watch his reaction. Hitters can tell when they get the barrel of the bat on the ball and put a charge in it. He's now 11 for 18 this year against left-handers. He's wearing them out.
A 2-run shot for Gerald Williams gives the Yankees a 3-1 lead here in the top of the second. Joe Girardi sends one into foul play. Error brings in the first run, and a 2-run homer for Gerald Williams brings in a couple of more. And the Yankees certainly weathering the storms of some early injury problems. Tony Fernandez, Pat Kelly, Tim Raines in and out of the lineup, but players like Duncan and Gerald Williams have really stepped up and filled the gaps nicely. Girardi sends one to center. Anderson in a couple of steps will make a waist-high catch. 2 down.
Dan, your point about the depth of this Yankee team is a very valid one. So often you forget about Gerald Williams and how valuable he is to the club. He didn't get an awful lot of playing time, but when he does get some time, he has been really contributing, especially this year. He's always been an outstanding defensive player, but now he's coming around with the bat. Same for Mariano Duncan, who was basically picked up for some insurance. And all of a sudden, he's getting the majority of the work at second base and swinging a hot bat.
A 1-0 Baltimore lead has evaporated and turned into a 3-1 Yankee lead as Wade Boggs gets his second at bat of the night. Yankees doing a number on David Wells here in the early going. 3 runs on 4 hits already. fly ball hit very high in the air toward the corner in right. And the catch will be made out there by Bobby Bonilla, retiring the Yankees. David Wells gives up 3 runs, including the Gerald Williams homer. And the Yankees have the lead. Again, the Yankees are up for 3 in their half of the second inning, highlighted by the Gerald Williams 2-run home run, and now lead the Orioles by a score of 3-1. 2-game mini-series between the top 2 teams in the AL East. Yankees won last night. And here's Cal Ripken to lead off the bottom of the second for Baltimore. Ripken will be followed by Surhoff and Devereaux. Kenny Rogers on the mound for the Yankees, missing just outside. In the air, right side off the bat of Ripken. They're twisting back into the seats.
Wonder when he's going to take a day off. Played 4 hours and 21 minutes last night.
That should count for 2. I was walking into the Oriole clubhouse, and all of a sudden I heard this boom, 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 boom coming behind me, and I turned around, and here comes Cal. And you know that set of about 8 stairs that there? 2 steps, 1, 2, right and the left, and he's hopping up them. I mean, he's flying. He has more fun than anybody else in BP, any player on either team. And he just refuses to come out of the lineup, much to the dismay of some younger players. How'd you like to be Manny Alexander, who's been the shortstop of the future for about 5 years now, but Cal Ripken's the shortstop of the present. Reaches out, taps one to second, off Duncan, and Ripken is safely across on the air.
Boy, you just can't afford the opposition those extra outs in this small ballpark. Joe Torre has been relatively satisfied with Duncan's defensive play, but right here, he just takes his eye off this ball. It seemed as though it got right to the seam between the grass and the dirt, and then he lost it. Ripken always hustling down the line. No chance at all for Duncan. Right there on the edge of that grass, he took his eye off. It took a funny hop right at the end, and he booted it. You just can't give him extra outs in this ballpark.
So both second basemen have already committed errors in this game, and here's B.J. Surhoff. Back at third base tonight is Surhoff. He DH'd last night. Bobby Bonilla was at third, but Bonilla's back out in right. Surhoff at third, and Devereaux, who's on deck, is the DH for the Orioles this evening. Curveball from Rogers, 1-1.
B.J. Surhoff really does a good job against left-handed pitching. He was 5th in the league last year, hitting 367 against left-handers. The reason he's so good is because he really doesn't have to pull the ball. He'll stay on Kenny Rogers and take those outside pitches up the alley in left center. B.J. has always been a very tough out. But he is much like a guy like Wade Boggs, who can take that ball on the outside part of the plate, shoot a double up the alley in left center. Then if you hang something inside, make a mistake with it, it can take you deep down the right field line.
The 1-2 from Kenny Rogers. Drops low for ball 2.
Starting to see a real good bite in Rogers' curveball. That tells me that he's starting to get the release point way out in front, get that downward break on him.
It's hit foul down the right field line. Well, it had to have been a tough March and beginning of April for Kenny Rogers. 4 years, $20 million. I mean, he's been signed to pitch. He won 17 games. This is not a guy who should have to prove himself, but I guess only in New York could he be ushered out of the rotation at the beginning of the year to get a little more arm strength, to get Dwight Gooden into the rotation. Now both of them are in because Melito Perez is injured and out. The Yankees with a lot of depth, but a little bit of controversy as well at the beginning of the year.
Well,
Full count.
you remember right back in spring training, they had 7 legitimate starters, counting Key, with Rogers, Cone, Melito Perez, Kamenich. And now with Cone's uncertainty, with his circulation problems, and Key has been kind of iffy. Joe Torre has the luxury of having all of those pitchers around. Even Melito Perez is expected back sooner than they thought.
Full count pitch, and Surhoff lifts a fly ball to center, not deep. Bernie Williams is under it. Ripken halfway, and now retreats to first. 1 down.
Batting 7th, the designated hitter, number 10, Mike Devereaux.
A cool but very pleasant night for baseball here at Camden Yards. And this has been a heavily hyped series between the Yankees and the Orioles. Mike Devereaux will make his first at bat of the evening. And DHing tonight so that Bobby Bonilla can get back into the field. Kind of odd. This guy can play a little bit of outfield.
Well, he's a veteran and has been the everyday center fielder for the Orioles here. It's his second time around in Baltimore. That's a good pickoff move. Hey, even if you're not thinking about a stolen base, sometimes Kenny Rogers can lull you to sleep over there and catch that.
In a short lead, Rogers to the plate. Devereaux hits one back to Rogers. Tough throw for a left-hander, and they will get Cal Ripken at second. He feels that Jeter came off the bag to catch the ball.
Well, he was right. He did come off the bag, but he got back on it. Kenny Rogers, a heads-up play, but the ball tailed on him, and Jeter did a good job. Watch Rogers trying to get the lead runner at second. The ball runs on him. Look at Jeter. He comes off, but then gets back on it before Ripken slides. Umpire Mike Riley right on top of it to make the call. And Derek Jeter continues to impress. Very composed, making all the plays.
Mike Devereaux now the runner at first. 2 down in the inning. The batter is the catcher, Chris Hoyles. What a 48 hours or so it's been for Chris Hoyles. He and his wife Dana celebrated the birth of their first child yesterday, a son Dalton. Hoyles gets here just in time to get in uniform, get into the game. Homers in his first at bat, and then for the first time in his career gets ejected from the game last night. So quite a day.
He was edgy.
I guess so. He said he hadn't had a whole lot of sleep.
He got to the ballpark at 7 for a 7:30 game. He called manager and said, I'll be here. And then Terry Kraft, the umpire at home plate. He and Hoyles were having trouble all night long, and it came to a head late in the ball game on a 3-2 pitch, and Hoyles lost it. First time he'd been thrown out.
Davey Johnson came out to try to protect Hoyles, didn't get there in time. Johnson got tossed out, so Hoyles and Johnson went inside to watch the rest of the game on TV and smoked a couple of the cigars that Hoyles had bought to celebrate the birth of his son. And Hoyles said he had one for Terry Kraft, but after he threw him out, he lost the cigar. 2 down, a runner at first. The other problem facing Hoyles, of course, is he has homered on the birth date of his first child, and he says this puts him in quite a spot. This jeopardizes perhaps any future children, because now he's got a homer on the birth date of all future children that he has, and he's a little bit nervous about this right now. Good check on the runner.
We talked about Rogers' move. He steps straight up and then kind of hesitates, and Devereaux was back easily. But boy, if you make one false step towards second, he'll get you.
The 1-1 to the plate. Strike 2. Good breaking ball from Rogers.
I talked about the spin and the sharp break on his curveball. He took something off this pitch, made it more of an off-speed curveball, but it still caught the outside part of the plate. Right there, Kenny Rogers wiped, got to another pitch. He wiped with his glove down his leg, and that moved to another pitch. Girardi wasn't quite sure of it, so he stepped off the rubber, and they'll go through the sequences again.
Devereaux the lead at first. Rogers to the plate, and he gets Hoyles on a high fastball, striking him out to end the inning. Rogers and the Yankees with an early 3-1 lead. Ball game, and the Yankees have a 3-1 lead on the Orioles, heading to the top of the third inning. The second game in our Wednesday night ESPN doubleheader. The slugging Colorado Rockies, led by Larry Walker, visit Mike Piazza and the LA Dodgers. A big battle in the National League West. Last night, Piazza, Eric Karros went back-to-back. Hideo Nomo picked up the win as the Dodgers won 7-4. Rockies are trying to turn the tables on the Dodgers tonight. That follows our game here tonight. David Wells and the Orioles trailing the Yankees 3-1, top of the third inning, and the Orioles need a win tonight to split this mini series one apiece. Yankees won last night 13-10. The type of game that's becoming more and more commonplace, especially in the American League here this season. There's Derek Jeter to lead it off for the Yankees in the third.
Wells got Jeter on a curveball on the outside part of the plate. He was caught looking at it. Once again, here's another hitter count. 2 balls and no strikes. David Wells got off to a good start here for the Orioles, but his last 2 times out, it's been a struggle for him. Changeup.
Grounded down to third. Surhoff will throw out Jeter, one down.
Well, if you're going to fall behind a hitter and you have the ability to change speeds, then you can go ahead and be effective. P.J. Surhoff made easy work out of that little tapper to third.
And now Paul O'Neill. Check swing tapper out in front of the mound. His first time up. Hoyles got out from behind the plate, threw him out. O'Neill really, for the first time in his career, Buck, getting a chance to play every single day. It doesn't matter who's on the hill. He'll face just about every lefty in the American League, and with a .395 average, obviously, it was a good move on the part of Joe Torre. As O'Neill sends a fly ball to right, backing up is Bonilla on the edge of the track. He's got it. 2 down as we send you to the studio. Here's Carl Ravitch.
All right, Dan, thanks. O'Neill just missed that one. What about Albert Bell against Joe McGrain? Down 2-0. Albert does not just miss this one. Out of here. His 10th. He's got 23 RBIs. Went from 2-0 to 2-2. You can see Albert and the Indians next week against the A's on Wednesday Night Baseball. Dan?
All right, Carl, thank you. Joe McGrain.
Well, the White Sox are leading the American League in pitching right now. They're doing a great job, particularly out of that bullpen. They've really done a great job. Their bullpen is pitching a full run better than any other bullpen in the American League.
You can see the Indians against Oakland a week from tonight in the late game of the doubleheader here on ESPN. Big cut again by Sierra. 1-1.
Well, the Orioles have found out that so far they can stay away from Sierra, and he can't get to that ball on the outside part of the plate. So you stay right there. He's going to have to hit one of those to make some adjustments and bring Wells back into his power zone on the inner half
The
of the plate.
2-1 from Wells on the outside corner again. 2-2. Wells is working quickly. He set down 4 in a row since the Gerald Williams home run. Sierra stays alive. This is a very important part of this Oriole team, especially with some other members of the rotation struggling.
David Wells is the type of pitcher that can get hot and get on a roll, where he really locks in a groove and gets command of all of his pitches. He'll get something off that fastball. Last couple of years, David has developed a pretty good 2-seam fastball, a little sinking fastball that he can use and spot it down and away from the right-handed hitters. He's always had a good 4-seamer that he can run up above the belt. Curveball and changeup, always very effective for him.
Sierra lines one to short. There is Cal Ripken, and it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for David Wells and the Orioles. Brady Anderson, who's already homered in this game, due up second next inning. Camden Yards, a couple of left-handers on the mound. Kenny Rogers for New York, David Wells for Baltimore. And a couple of home runs in this game. Gerald Williams has hit a 2-run shot for the Yankees, and Brady Anderson has done it again for Baltimore. Yes, and it was another leadoff home run. Here's the number 9 hitter Jeffrey Hammonds to lead off the 3rd inning for Baltimore. He'll take away ball 1. With all the changes, Buck, involving Bonilla and Carrasco and Devereaux, they've pretty much left Jeffrey Hammonds alone out in left field, hitting 9th, and just let him go about his business.
Yeah, and I think they're so happy to have him healthy. They want to give him a good long look in left field and give him a chance to get a lot of at-bats and maybe really settle in and become the hitter they hoped that he would be coming out of Stanford University. He's had some knee problems and hasn't been able to really get those regular at-bats. You see how often he has been on the disabled list.
Straighten him up with a fastball, 2-2.
Bobby Bonilla, as Dan mentioned earlier, is the guy that Davey Johnson wants to get going. Feels like once he gets Bonilla on a roll, this offense will really take off.
And Rogers has to drop to a knee to pick up the return throw from Girardi. These two guys getting to know each other as well. A couple of new Yankees, and there are many new Yankees this year. Full count pitch to Hammonds. Down low, ball 4. The leadoff man is aboard here in the Baltimore 3rd. And the last thing Rogers wanted was a runner on for one of the most dangerous hitters in baseball right now, Brady Anderson. Yes, he's a leadoff man, but he's hitting with power this year. His 5th leadoff home run this season, his 12th home run overall. Gave the Orioles the lead back in the 1st inning.
Let me point out, it was a 2-0 fastball that Anderson got. He's very patient, working the count, and when he gets his pitch, he's really wearing it out.
His career high is 21. He's already got 12, but with Alomar behind him, is this the new Brady Anderson? Is he now to be taken as a 35, 40 home run guy? Or is this...
I'm not ready to say that just yet. It's a great start. This is a very comfortable ballpark to hit home runs in. 16 last year, already 12. But sometimes when guys get on a home run roll, they start to think about home runs in there, and swing becomes a little bit up, and all of a sudden they're missing those pitches that they were really driving out of the ballpark.
The unfortunate thing for the Orioles is, of course, with Brady Anderson leading off, he's not driving in as many runs as you would expect a guy who has 12 home runs to drive in. And in that 4-game stretch where Brady led off the game with a home run, the Orioles lost all 4. He's done it tonight. They trail tonight.
Talking to himself, trying to remind himself to stay back. That's the first thing you want to do when you're a left-handed batter facing a guy like Rogers, who's so effective at changing speeds. You stay back to fight off the fastball and wait on the breaking pitches.
Brady Anderson joins 5 other players, 2 of the others this year, for the most home runs ever in the month of April. Anderson, Bonds, and Sheffield all did it this season, and Anderson came close to number 12. Runner goes. Another fly ball, deep right field, hit very high. O'Neill on the track will make the catch as Anderson made a bid for home run number 13. Just about got it out. One of the other fellows who has hit 11 home runs and did in the month of April, Barry Bonds, hit 2 on the last day to get to 11. Bonds and the Giants, Larkin and the Reds, Cincinnati, San Francisco, Sunday Night Baseball, the game of the week right here on ESPN. Mr. Bonds is getting hot. Brady Anderson pretty hot. Came about 5-10 feet away from home run number 13. Here's Roberto Alomar.
Off to a great start here, his first season with the Orioles. Alomar has always had trouble batting from the right side. He has said that he just doesn't get enough regular at-bats to develop a consistency from the right side. But this year, he's really doing a good job, hitting well over 350 against left-handed pitching. That's 100 points higher than he has hit the last 5 years against left-handers.
Hit a big home run from this side of the plate against the Red Sox 2 weeks ago. Off Mike Stanton in a back-and-forth game that the Orioles eventually won in extra innings. Rogers concerned with Hammonds over at first, and a 1-1 count to Alomar. To the plate, down and in ball 2.
I think Rogers is at the point now where he can throw a very good changeup right here. He's got the count. He's behind in the count to Alomar, but he has used the changeup effectively already in this ball game. It's a good time to use it right here. Missed with it outside. He's aware that Alomar, a very good hitter, a situational hitter, will sit on fastballs in particular counts, and he tried to get him to go after that changeup.
Here another hitter's count, just like he had with Anderson. 3 balls and a strike. Runner goes. Ground balls hit foul.
Hammonds didn't get a very good jump. He kind of broke after the fact. He was trying to get a walking lead against Kenny Rogers, but Rogers with that little hesitation. They were playing hit and run. Watch his move here. See, he's late. Rogers was already unloading to the plate. Basically playing hit and run right there. Now he's going to be more aggressive, and Rogers will probably go to first right here.
And they've got him. Hammonds was caught leaning, and he is caught between first and second. He'll get tagged out.
Third base runner he's picked off this year, and this is just his 3rd start. Well, there's a young base runner, not really aware. Look at that. He is dead to rights. Kenny Rogers gave him a little hesitation. A couple of tosses here. Duncan back to Martinez, and Jeffrey Hammonds is erased just like that.
Another lesson learned for the young left fielder. 1-3-4-1. The scoring on the play as Alomar fouls off the 3-2 pitch.
Very difficult to steal against Kenny Rogers. Just 16 stolen bases in an era where the base stealer is king.
Alomar lines one foul down the left field line. Two down, nobody on. Rogers to Alomar with the 3-2. It's softly into right field. O'Neill back a couple of steps to make the catch. And that is it. Through 3 complete, the Yankees lead 3-1.
America's neighborhood place for paint.
Dan Shulman and Buck Martinez with you at Camden Yards in Baltimore. The New York Yankees lead the Baltimore Orioles 3-1 through 3 complete. David Wells, Kenny Rogers, the pitchers tonight. And here's Tino Martinez to lead off the 4th for the Yankees. He led off the 2nd with a base hit, and that was the inning where the Yankees went on to score 3 runs. All 3 of their runs captured by the Gerald Williams homer. touched on it, Buck, the difficulty of not only becoming a Yankee and all that entails, but also of replacing Don Mattingly. Ground ball right side. Palmeiro underhands to Wells, one down. Let's get an update from Carl Ravitch.
All right, Dan, Yankees have Girardi behind the plate, yet to hit a home run this season. The Red Sox go out and get Mike Stanley for his power, and there is home run number 3 for Stanley. The Red Sox giving Clemens some support. He has K'd 5 through 5, and at Fenway, the Red Sox are on top 5-0. Fellas?
Stanley hit 18 home runs and drove in 83 last year for New York, and there was a big uproar in Yankee land when they let Mike Stanley go to the Red Sox of all people.
And is that noise we hear, the Red Sox starting to wake up out of their collective slumber up at Fenway Park?
I tell you, they make Rip Van Winkle look like he is wide awake. They have had a terrible start.
Still the worst record in the major leagues. Beat up on the Tigers last night, beating up on them again tonight. Here's Bernie Williams. He's starting to pick up that average. Single to center his first time up. David Wells looks a little out of sorts on the mound right now. He's fallen behind Williams 2-0. Wells pitched 3 weeks ago tonight against the Cleveland Indians in one of our games, and he had good point control that game. He could do no wrong.
Had command both sides of the plate with his fastball.
Fly ball right field. Twisting toward the corner and gone. Home run, Bernie Williams, says Bonilla went to play it off the wall and it didn't come back.
We talk about Bernie Williams, and Tino Martinez starting to heat up. This ball is up and away from him, and he rides it down the right field line. Bonilla is hoping to get a carom off the wall, but it came off the top of the wall and was hit by a fan outside the ballpark. Home run for Bernie Williams.
The Yankees up their lead to 4-1, and both Gerald Williams and Bernie Williams have homered in this game. The batter, Mariano Duncan. The inside out swing, dropping in a hurry in right field. It'll get down in front of Bonilla for a base hit. And here's the other Williams, Gerald, who hit a home run of his own off David Wells. Back in the second, 2-run shot, smack to left field.
Well, there's a good changeup on the first pitch. This is back in the first inning. First pitch, second inning. First pitch to Gerald Williams from David Wells. He hammers it. His third straight hit against an Oriole left-hander. He doubled twice against Rhodes yesterday to start the game. And then against David Wells. I don't know. Richie Bansell, the trainer, out to talk with Chris Hoyles. Maybe the follow-through with the bat got him when Gerald reached for that pitch. Just watch the barrel of his bat. Ball is away from him. It comes all the way around and whacked him on the back of the shoulder. Willie Horton used to do that all the time. He would really have a big backswing, but he'd always tap you on the shin guard to remind you, hey, remember, I got this big, awful backswing. And when he did that to you, big damage.
Yeah, big, strong guy.
So he used to give him a lot of room back there.
A one-strike count to Gerald Williams. Duncan, the runner at first. 4-1 Yankees in the fourth. The top two teams in the American League East with an early two-game battle here to end April and begin May. The Yankees have a chance if they can win tonight. They head home for 16 of their next 19. They'd love nothing better than a 2-game sweep here in Baltimore.
You know, Dan, I get a real sense of a quiet confidence around the Yankees. Nobody's really talking too much about the way they're playing, but everybody is very professional in their approach. Joe Torre knows his starting pitching staff is not pitching the way they will eventually when they get all the kinks ironed out. Jimmy Key trying to rebound from another shoulder surgery. Andy Pettit had a tough start yesterday. Doc Gooden had a good outing last time out, filling in for David Cone.
Base hit left field. Gerald Williams, and his torrid streak continues.
Well, he's on fire. Jose Cardinal on first base. Gerald says, "Now remember how I'm doing this, okay?" Let's not forget this streak. 12 for 19 for Gerald Williams against left-handed pitchers this year. That'll buy him some more playing time, won't it?
Here's Joe Girardi. You saw the Mike Stanley home run for the Red Sox. Carl Rabbit showed you a few minutes ago. Girardi, the new #1 catcher for the Yankees. Over from Colorado, and maybe not in as tough a spot as Tino Martinez, with Martinez having to replace Don Mattingly, but Girardi was under the microscope before he ever set foot in New York.
Boy, as soon as they made the announcement that Joe Girardi was going to come and play in New York, he really took a beating in the newspapers and on the talk shows around New York, and they were really tough on him. He's not the one that made the trade. But Mike Stanley was a fan favorite, a very popular guy in the Yankees ball club. But Joe Girardi shouldn't have to put up with that. In fact, Mike Stanley sent him a telegram and wished him good luck, and he knew how tough it was going to be for him. That was a pretty classy thing, and Girardi was very appreciative of that.
Quickly, 2 strikes from Wells here. Wells is struggling. 2 Yankees on, 1 out. A run in this inning already. 4-1 New York. The 0-2. Off the fist, slow roller to first. Palmeiro to short for 1, and that's all. Ripken will throw behind the runner. Duncan at third, but he gets back.
Girardi got fisted on that cut fastball inside. Oriole infield knew they were going to get 2 on it. Ripken took a shot that Duncan would round third. Take a look at it. He gets jammed. Palmeiro comes over from first base, gets the lead runner. Ripken doesn't even think about first. He immediately goes to third base to Surha, but you can see Duncan is alert and gets back safely. These guys up the middle don't miss anything, do they? Ripken, Alomar, even Palmeiro.
2 down. Runners on the corners for Wade Boggs. Boggs just doing the Wade Boggs thing again, hitting .301 so far this season, drawing some walks, getting on base. He's not your prototypical leadoff hitter, but the Yankees are getting some speed from other parts of the order, which is a bit of a change from some recent years for them.
Well, they've got Bernie Williams, who has 6 stolen bases. They got Jeter, who's running a little bit, but Joe Torre will play more hit and run. They've stolen 20 bases so far, but they're not really a speed burner team by any means.
3 balls, no strikes to Boggs as that pitch nearly hit him, and David Wells is just going from struggle to struggle here tonight.
Well, Chris Hoyles told us that his starters were really struggling with their location on breaking pitches, struggling with the fastball, and you can see Wells has been all over the place tonight. 7 hits so far.
Boggs will take a strike on the inside corner.
It's really significant that we're only in the 4th inning, because the Oriole bullpen has really been overused lately, and there's no one even stirring down there. Pat Dobson, the pitching coach, and Dave Johnson know that they're going to have to be as patient as possible to stay with David Wells and hope he gets things worked out. See, both of these ball clubs, their starters have struggled so far, but I think the Yankees have a more optimistic outlook when you consider Jimmy Key is rounding in the form. Kenny Rogers making his 3rd start here tonight.
Runner goes from first, and Boggs hits a little ground ball that will roll foul just before Palmeiro gets to it.
Both of these ball clubs kind of looked at each other during the offseason and kind of went back and forth. Okay, you'll get Cone, we'll get Wells, you get Rogers, we'll sign Alomar, back and forth. They were trying to really keep a close eye on each other. The starting pitching, both clubs struggling right now, but I think there are more quality starters in the rotation of the Yankees, excuse me. That's Scott Erickson. Doc Gooden had a good start after 3 bad ones, but I think he just needs some innings.
The Orioles have announced today that they're going to juggle their rotation a little bit, and some of the high-priced help that Pat Gillick brought in, Kent Merker from Atlanta, he's out of the rotation for the meantime, and he's not really too happy about it. He kept saying over and over, well, I don't make the decisions around here, but he's been bumped from the rotation with no set timetable for him to return. You have to think once he gets some good outings underneath him in the bullpen, he'll return. The Orioles don't have a lot of starting depth in their organization, as Wells gets Boggs with a high fastball to get out of it. Yankees will get another run on the Bernie Williams homer and lead the Orioles 4-1. Over the Orioles, leading 4-1, bottom of the 4th at Camden Yards. Tomorrow night, the 2nd round of the Stanley Cup playoffs begins. Florida, Philadelphia, the Panthers and the Flyers. 7:30 Eastern, game 1 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. And then a little bit later on tomorrow evening on the Deuce, out west we go for the Blackhawks and the high-flying Colorado Avalanche. Game 1 of that series as well. 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific on ESPN2. Rafael Palmeiro will take a big bending breaking ball from Kenny Rogers for strike 1 to lead off the bottom of the 4th. Out of the order, Palmeiro, Bonilla, and Ripken due up for Baltimore. Orioles trail 4-1. Rogers quickly ahead 0-2 with a couple of off-speed pitches.
He throws that breaking ball right at the left-handed hitters, and it's so tough for them to hang in there and then swing at it too. And it sweeps all the way across the plate.
Muscled up with a fastball. Palmeiro seemed to be waiting for it, but he lines it to center fielder Bernie Williams, 1 down.
But it's a much different swing when you got an 0-2 count on you. All you're trying to do is make contact. And even though that was a pretty hittable pitch, all he could do was get it in the air and hit it right at the center fielder.
Now Bobby Bonilla. Sounded like a few boos mixed in with mostly cheers as Bonilla steps up here, hitting just 196. Who would have guessed on May 1st Brady Anderson would have 10 more home runs than Bobby Bonilla?
No one. Bonilla actually did a good job when he came over to the Orioles last year in July, and was one of the consistent offensive players down the stretch. And the rest of the ball club was kind of slumping around it.
One down, a 1-1 count. And Rogers is really getting some pinpoint control with the breaking balls now, 1-2.
Well, when you're slumping like Bobby Bonilla, it seems as though every pitcher makes a perfect pitch. You see his average season for the Pirates. That's what the Orioles were looking for.
And when it's all said and done, it's probably what they'll get. This guy's too good a hitter to do this for much longer. The 2-2. Reaches out, fouls it off.
Kenny Rogers is not the type of pitcher that you'd like to face when you are having trouble at the plate, because he gives you so many different pitches at so many different speeds. Those slumps are related to timing, and hitters' timing is really something that becomes very critical with a guy like Kenny Rogers on the mound. Something's happening here between Rogers and Girardi. It's been going on most of the night. They're really having a tough time getting their heads together. And I think for a pitcher and a catcher, it's difficult when you've got a guy like Kenny Rogers who does so many different things. He changes speeds on curveballs. He changes speeds on fastballs.
Strike 3 called, and Bonilla doesn't like it. Let's get you an update from Carl Ravitch.
All right, from the best in the East to the best in the West. Mariners, Rangers, identical records. Randy Johnson, first inning man on. Pudge Rodriguez silences the big unit. Deep to left and out of here. And Texas now on top 2-0 thanks to that home run. Back to you.
Randy Johnson had some trouble with a lower back last start, I believe.
Lasted just 5 innings in that start, taken deep by Rodriguez. Texas, Seattle battling in the AL West. Here, Baltimore and the Yankees battling in the East. 2 down, nobody on. Bottom of the 4th for Cal Ripken. He shoots one foul down the left field line. The Orioles, Buck, have but 1 hit in this game, and it's the leadoff home run way back in the 1st by Brady Anderson. Rogers has helped himself by picking off Jeffrey Hammonds. Swing foul. I think that went right into the Oriole dugout. 1-2. Bonilla did not like the call on a breaking ball that he felt dropped below the knees. Richie Garcia rang him up. A couple of free spirits there, Bonilla, David Wells.
Well, it seemed to me like Bonilla was kind of suggesting, what am I going to do? How can I argue? I'm struggling, and I can't really argue with Garcia's strike zone. So when I start swinging the bat the way I can, then I can beef. But right now, I'm having enough trouble of my own.
The 1-2 from Rogers. Bounces in. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Bobby Bonilla 0 for 2 tonight. He was called out on this Kenny Rogers curveball. Richie Garcia has been pretty consistent in giving Rogers that outside corner. When you're in a slump like Bonilla is, you really don't have any idea if it was a strike or not. I've been there. Walk back, go, I guess it was. Not seeing anything else.
And this is when you get to that inevitable stage. Fans are writing you letters. Do this, Bobby. This will help you get out of it. People handing you notes from the stands.
The problem was I used to listen to it.
Ground ball to short. Charged by Jeter. He will throw out Cal Ripken. It's a 3-out, 3-down inning for Kenny Rogers. The Yankees still lead 4-1.
This shot, a frozen rope off the pitcher whose name is John Hope, and it is now tied at 3 as that one gets out in a hurry. And it is 3-3 there. Ray Knight has taken back this must-win situation stuff too, fellas.
Yeah, at some point I guess you got to back off on calling games must-win here. Last couple of days of April, first couple of days of May. Reds are really struggling, and so are the Orioles, and things get a little bit worse here as catcher Chris Hoyles will leave the game. Remember, he got hit on the wraparound swing by Gerald Williams in the back of the left shoulder. He's out of the game, and Greg Zahn will come on here in the 5th inning. David Wells has given up 4 runs on 7 hits, including a couple of home runs to a couple of Williams. 1 to Bernie, 1 to Gerald. Yankees lead the Orioles 4-1. Here's Derek Jeter lead off the game. And again, a 2-0 count.
Well, Dan, your assessment of David Wells and his struggles with his control tonight are very accurate. Last time we saw him, he was very good, had great control, moved it in and out all night long. But tonight, he has really been struggling to get command of his pitches.
Alomar way to his right to make the play, but can't get enough on the throw to throw out Jeter. Give Jeter an infield single.
Well, Alomar knows that his pitching staff is struggling, so he thinks if I can make a good play and pick up an out any way I can do it. He goes well behind the bag, slides on the outfield grass, but can't get enough on the throw to get the speedy Jeter at first.
Paul O'Neill steps in. 0 for 2 tonight. That's dropped his average down from an even 400 down to 391. This guy might be the least known and least appreciated batting champion of the last few years. He won a batting title.
Look at the concentration. He hates to give away at bats. They just called a balk on David Wells. David Wells has been struggling with his concentration. Remember, John just came in. Jeter goes to second on the balk. Watch right now. He's set on the rubber. John's ready to give him a sign. He started his move up, and then he stepped off. Richie Garcia immediately calling the balk. David Wells has had better concentration. He's really fighting himself tonight. And that has been pretty consistent with Pat Dobson and his starters, all except Messina, have really been struggling lately.
Jeter up to second on the balk. O'Neill the batter. Things a little dicey. The pitching staff for the Orioles right now. Erickson's been inconsistent. Kent Mercker has been taken out of the rotation. For the meantime, he's struggled. There are the two guys who were really numbers 3 and 4, I guess, but Merker's out for the meantime. They want Merker to pitch in an exhibition game against their AAA affiliate team in Rochester. He's not so hot on the idea. His attitude is, I've got nothing to gain and everything to lose. What if I get hurt? What if I try to strike out everybody because they're not major league ball players? And then the thing he said was, yeah, my ERA is 9.27, but you know what? In my 5 starts, the team's 4-1. And I got a big chuckle from everybody who was around, but I don't know if he really meant it that way or not. But he's not in the best of spirits right now. Obviously expected to contribute more in the early going. Jimmy Haynes will move back in. Arthur Rhodes has been bouncing back and forth. Made a start, but he's going to go back to the bullpen for the meantime, where he's thrown very well.
Rhodes was very effective out of the bullpen, and last night the Yankees caught up to him. He couldn't hold a 5-run lead.
And the other issue is now Zahn and Wells have to talk it over again. A 2-2 count to O'Neill. He's got a couple of right-handers on the DL, and Alan Mills and Armando Benitez. Benitez figuring to be a very key player down in that bullpen this year, but he's had some elbow trouble.
Well, Benitez hurt his game. Davey Johnson was aware of the problem. It was caused by his split finger pitch, and they told Benitez, don't throw it. Well, he got in the jam in a game here at Camden Yards and threw a few of them, and it aggravated the elbow once again.
2-2. O'Neill grounds it to second. That'll advance Jeter to third.
That's a great example of a guy probably feeling a little bit overmatched with David Wells right at this time, and says, okay, I got a couple strikes on me. I'm going to pull the ball on the ground and move Jeter over. That's how you win ball games. Paul O'Neill really grinding to pull the ball here. His hands stay back. You can see how he rolls that top hand over to pull the ball on the right side on the ground, and gets congratulations from his teammates.
And now an RBI opportunity for Ruben Sierra. Runner at third, one down in the fifth. Yankees already leading 4-1.
Infield drawn in as the Orioles are trying to save that run at third. They don't want to fall behind by 4. Boy, Wells has really lost it now. He has lost his delivery. He's lost his command. This is when Ruben Sierra becomes very dangerous because Wells can't locate. First 2 at bats to Sierra, he spotted the fastball away, and Sierra couldn't do a thing with it.
Reno. There has not been any activity in the Baltimore pen at any point during this game. And now they've just had enough, and Sierra will get ball 4. And Wells, that one almost got away from him over Zahn. So Sierra down to first. Runners on the corners with 1 down. Tino Martinez coming up, and Pat Dobson to the mound.
Well, he's got to try to do some damage control here. David Wells has been struggling all night. Just hasn't had good command. He's generally a guy that can hit the corners with his fastball, get the breaking ball over any time. And Dobson is trying to coax him back into that good delivery. Now he wants to talk to Zahn.
First baseman, Tino Martinez.
The last thing Davey Johnson needed was a shaky start by another starter. Their bullpen is pretty much worn out.
Tino Martinez steps in. Another base hit tonight. His average continues to climb. The big home run we mentioned last night. Derek Jeter at third. Ruben Sierra at first. 1 down. The Yankees already lead by 3, threatening to break it open. Wells to the plate, and Martinez lines one to center. Charging is Brady Anderson to make the catch. Tagging and scoring on the play without a throw to the plate is Derek Jeter.
Well, I don't know if Brady Anderson forgot about the guy at third or what. He was really shallow enough to make a throw on the run. Boy, things have fallen apart here in Baltimore. Watch the reaction by Brady Anderson. Jeter immediately goes back to tag up. Anderson comes in, makes a catch on the run, and then just lobs the ball back in. He forgot all about the base runner at third base. And this is a club that's supposed to be very good defensively. Not only are they making physical errors, but now they're making mental errors.
It's a complete turnaround from the way they played the first couple of weeks of the season. Everything was clicking in an 11-2 start. Since then, the Orioles are 3-10. They trail the Yankees by a half game in the AL East coming into action tonight. Bernie Williams has had a very productive evening so far. Some injury problems for the Orioles. What to do with Bobby Bonilla, both offensively and defensively. As you mentioned, some surprising defensive problems. Long season, though, just as they seemed unbeatable a couple of weeks ago. You can't say, well, they're obviously not as good as people thought they were. There's still 5 months to go.
Well, they've got an intangible upstairs. Pat Gillick, the general manager. He's been known to make some deals midstream that really have an impact on the way his club's performing. Think back to what he did in Toronto, picking up players like David Cone, Mookie Wilson, Robbie Alomar initially.
Goes to Williams with the 1-2. Williams, a base hit, a home run, all the way up to 276. Runner at first, Sierra, 2 down, 5-1 Yankees in the 5th. Battled through the offseason for free agents and big-time players. Now they're battling for the first time here in the regular season. These 2 games against the Orioles are the first 2 games that the Yankees have played against an Eastern Division opponent this season. The 1-2, and he gets him. Good breaking ball by Wells. The Yankees, though, score again. Jeter scores as Anderson doesn't fire home, and it's a 5-1 Yankee lead.
The home run actually hasn't given up an earned run in his last 2 starts, and Jeff Bagwell says, earned this. A home run, 3rd career lifetime off Avery, and the Astros leading the Braves 1-0 in the top of the 5th.
Astros try to move to the 500 mark. Everybody in the NL Central trying to move to the 500 mark. Right now the weakest division of baseball. Cubs won today, so they moved to 14-14. Houston at 13-14. Way down at the bottom, those Cincinnati Reds. What has gone wrong? They have lost 8 in a row coming into action tonight. B.J. Surhoff leading it off for the Orioles against Kenny Rogers in the bottom of the 5th. And what can you say about Kenny Rogers? He's given up just 1 hit in the game, a leadoff home run to Brady Anderson.
This is vintage Kenny Rogers. He's really baffling the Oriole hitters now as he's mixing his changeup. He's throwing a couple of different curveballs, working to both sides of the plate. In his first start of the season, he held the Minnesota Twins to just 1 hit, but in that game, he struggled with his control. He walked 5 batters.
Ahead of Surhoff, a ball and 2 strikes. Some similarities, not tonight, but in their careers between Kenny Rogers and David Wells, both left-handers who spent their first few years in the majors in the bullpen, and then eventually became among the most successful left-handed starters in the game.
Well, David Wells worked in the bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays. Kenny Rogers did the same for Texas. In fact, Rogers led the league in appearances back in '92. He had 81 appearances.
Just his 3rd start of the season. First 2 came against the Twins, a win and a no decision. Surhoff stays with it, but hits it foul. It's got to be a tough pitch for a left-hand hitter not to back out of the way. It looks like it's going to hit you, and then it drops over the plate.
Well, you really have to have confidence that you can hang in there and still make contact. Watch where this breaking ball starts. VJ has to really hang in there, and all he can do with that pitch is pull it foul. It's a tough curveball because it's a sweeping curveball that goes down and away from left-handed hitters.
Again, the 2-2. Inside, full count to the leadoff man here in the Oriole 5th.
Just 1 hit through 4 innings and 1 walk. That's significant. That's a dramatic improvement over his last couple of starts. Control has really been there.
There's number 2.
Sure.
You know what? I know that you knew halfway through saying it that he was going to throw ball 4. Leadoff man aboard in the 5th for the Orioles, trailing the Yankees 5-1.
Joe Torre would like to be able to stretch out Kenny Rogers a little bit tonight and give that bullpen of his a little bit of a break. He's had to march out those relievers on a pretty consistent basis. So much so that they've added another pitcher to their staff. Jim Nasir was called up today, and he's in the bullpen available tonight.
Mike Devereaux takes one that bounces in. The ball one to make room for Nasir. The Yankees released outfielder Deion James today. So a 12-man pitching staff for the meantime for the Yankees.
I think you're going to see a few more teams go to 12 men. The Orioles are carrying 3 utility players now, and that's somewhat of a luxury. Well, Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach for the Yankees, quickly comes out of the Yankee dugout. Saw something he didn't like. Thought he'd take time and get Kenny Rogers regrouped here. He fell behind 2-0. He got a 4-run lead, and he walked the leadoff batter.
And he's fallen behind Devereaux 2-0. Now 3 balls and no strikes. And for the first time since Anderson's leadoff home run back in the first, the crowd with a little bit of anticipation and something to cheer about here at Camden Yards. 3-1.
Well, the trend around the major leagues this season has been if you can get into the bullpen, you can score some runs. Middle relief is really taking a beating.
Four and 5-run leads are being overturned pretty much nightly, especially in the American League. Full count now to Devereaux. And even though the Yankees won, even their players were saying, man, was that some kind of ball game last night? 4 hours, 21 minutes for 9 innings. I don't think anybody wants to play that kind of a ball game again.
Well, Joe Torre said he didn't enjoy it, even though he got a W. So many runs and so many lead changes.
Mike Devereaux, the batter, the 6th full count of this game for Kenny Rogers right now. Surhoff, the runner at first. He drew a leadoff walk. Nobody out, and the Orioles trying to climb back into this thing, trailing the Yankees 5-1, bottom of the 5th. Full count pitch, and Devereaux's gone. Outside corner, and he got him.
Richie Garcia has given Kenny Rogers that outside corner all night long. He fights back from a 3-0 count and paints the corner to Mike Devereaux. It's high enough, and Garcia has given Rogers that outside corner. Remember the same pitch to Bonilla, a curveball down and away.
One down now for the catcher, Greg Zahn. That one misses down and away for ball 1. Zahn came on for Chris Hoyles, who was hit on the backswing by Gerald Williams' bat back in the 4th inning. Down at the back of the left shoulder, maybe up around the collarbone. Hoyles left the game. Zahn on now. And Zahn hits one deep left field. Gerald Williams heading back to the wall. Gone. Gerald Williams is still down on the track, and no official call is made until now by third base umpire Terry Kraft, who finally signals home run Greg Zahn. Zahn was all the way out at second base, and B.J. Surhoff didn't want to go anywhere. He wasn't sure the ball was gone.
Well, that got some life back into that Oriole bench. Greg Zahn with his first home run of the season. Gerald Williams had a bead on it. Take a look at the swing by Zahn. Fastball out over the plate, puts a good swing on it. You don't want to walk anybody in this ballpark. Look at Williams. He's got a bead on it and just runs into the wall. Surhoff wasn't sure if that ball had been caught. Asked Ricky Garcia, did it go out?
Greg Zahn was standing between first and second, just motionless on the field, looking out to left field, waiting for the call. Big home run for Zahn. Suddenly a 5-3 game. Jeffrey Hammond's the batter. And again, Rogers falling behind. 2 balls, no strikes. Big cut, 2-1.
Looks like both managers have decided tonight that I'm not going to the bullpen. Greg Zahn, with his first home run, has drawn the Orioles to within 2 runs.
That's foul.
Looks like both managers said, I don't care. It's the 5th inning, and I'm not getting anybody up. You guys are going to have to work later into the ball game. My bullpens are just worn out. Kenny Rogers has only given up 2 hits.
Both home runs. David Wells has given up 8 hits. That's it for Hammonds. 2 down in the inning. Let's get you to Carl Ravitch.
All right, Dan, Al Leiter trying to protect a 3-run lead. I should say that this is a 3-run home run from Pete Incaviglia. Yes, he doesn't have a 3-run lead. Now he's down 3. It is 5-2. Dan and Buck.
All right, Carl. Lenny Dykstra hot in this game. And how about the Philadelphia Phillies with an entire starting rotation on the DL? They come into action tonight. 2 games over 500.
Well, they're doing a remarkable job considering that they don't have Dalton or they don't have Jeffries.
Brady Anderson ducked underneath that one.
Well, the fans are booing, but it's a curveball that goes behind Brady Anderson. Just got away from Kenny Rogers.
Anderson has already homered in this game. 5th leadoff home run of the season, and we mentioned earlier the first 4, which were all in consecutive games. The Orioles lost all 4 games. They're trailing again tonight, but they have come a little bit closer on the home run by Zahn. The 1-1. Anderson went around for strike 2. The Yankees have given up 2 home runs tonight. You mentioned the only 2 hits Rogers has given up. Only 16 on the season. The Yankees have given up fewer home runs than any other team in the major leagues.
The White Sox, starting action tonight, had given up 21. They're the closest. So Zahn's home run against the Yankees staff, a real rarity so far this year.
Anderson ducked away. That one wound up over the plate, but high for ball 2. I don't think Anderson ever saw the ball hit the glove.
Watch his reaction here. It's a flat breaking ball this time, and that ball almost got over the heart of the plate but stayed up.
Gets him. Kenny Rogers, it turns out, strikes out the side, but gives up a walk and a 2-run homer to Greg Zahn. The Orioles are back in it, trailing 5-3. Top of the 6th inning, Mariano Duncan leads it off against Orioles starter David Wells. 5-3 New York. Both starters are still out there. Wells and Kenny Rogers. Look at Duncan, 364 in the talk in New York. In a few weeks when Pat Kelly is able to come back, can Kelly get his job back? There were some trade rumors earlier in the season. Bob Watson, Yankee GM, perhaps looking for another second baseman. Names like Mickey Morandini. Chuck Knobloch's name even got tossed around a little bit, but the way Duncan is playing, he's the man for the meantime.
It has not been a problem. Duncan has made most of the routine plays. He doesn't have great range at second base, but Pat Kelly there on the bench, coming back from a arthroscopic surgery on his shoulder.
Ground ball left side. Wells will let it go. No play. Infield single, Mariano Duncan. Well, the Tour DuPont will continue tomorrow. The 12-day, 1,200-mile event began today in Wilmington, Delaware. ESPN and ESPN2 will have daily coverage of each of the 12 stages for you. Defending champion Lance Armstrong, one of the heavy favorites again. Back here at Camden Yards, the Yankees up a pair. Mariano Duncan now 2 for 3, an infield single to lead off the 6th inning. And here's Gerald Williams, who got it all going for the Yankees back in the 2nd, 2-run homer. And as you mentioned, Buck, especially against left-handers, Gerald Williams has been unstoppable.
Boy, he's in a groove right now, and when you get this hot, everything seems to be in slow motion. You've got an awful lot of confidence, of course, but because of that confidence, there's no urgency in your approach at home. You stay back, look for the ball. Tim Raines has been playing in left field since he's come back from the disabled list. He's had a couple of different injuries. In spring training, he had a chip fracture in his thumb as a result of a head-first slide at second base, and then he had a hamstring problem, something he's been plagued with throughout most of his career.
Williams will pop the bunt back. Ball and 2 strikes.
Well, they're still up by a couple, trying to take advantage of that laid-off base hit by Duncan. Didn't really get that barrel of the bat out in front, kind of popped it up. Greg Zahn couldn't get out of the box in time to make a play.
Runner at first, Duncan. Infield single to lead off the Yankees 6th. Yankees out hitting the Orioles 9-2. Both Oriole hits, home runs. Brady Anderson, Greg Zahn. 1-2. Williams lays off, and the count is even. Full count, and David Wells really from the outset of this game has just not been himself. He's usually very sharp, among the leaders year after year, and fewest walks per 9 innings, and generally has very good command.
Yeah, if he does have trouble, he'll get hit because he's in the strike zone so often. But tonight he's been all over the place.
Full count pitch. Fly ball left field, pretty deep. Back is Hammonds on the run. He'll make the catch on the track to retire Williams, and scampering back to first is Duncan.
Good running catch by Jeffrey Hammonds. A 2-strike drive off the bat of Gerald Williams. He didn't really get any extension. He reaches for this ball, just kind of feeling for it. You can see how he's out in front on that front foot, but still almost drives it out of the ballpark. Duncan goes all the way to second base, and then he has to re-tag the base as he sees that Hammonds made the play.
1 down for Joe Girardi, the catcher. Fouled off for strike 1. Yankees heading home after tonight to take on the White Sox, beginning a stretch of 16 home games in the next 19. Baltimore, after an off day, will welcome the Milwaukee Brewers here in the series. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Girardi really upsetted himself chasing that ball, probably off the plate outside. Over anxious, wants the change up here. Zahn wants it down and in. Girardi waves at it, got out in front of it.
Bounced in and blocked by Zahn. Keeping the runner at first.
Zahn very quick behind home plate. Got that curveball in the dirt and smothered it. Forced Duncan to hold his ground. Bouncing curveball, you see he plays it off his chest protector, takes the mask off, and keeps an eye on Duncan.
David Wells trying to put away the catcher Girardi. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 down, 1 on. And he'll check on Duncan over at first. Largest crowd of the season tonight at Camden Yards, 47,472. Watch a highly anticipated series between the Yankees and Orioles. Game 2 tonight, 13-10 New York last night. Good pitching Baltimore had in the first couple of weeks of the season has just evaporated, and so it seems has David Wells' desire to come to the plate.
Well, David Wells has been good in the past. So far, all the base runners have been successful against him.
Runner goes. Throw down and throw high into center field. Duncan will steal it and head to third, beating the throw of Brady Anderson in. And now the Yankees have a runner at third with just 1 down and make the opposing base runners 8 for 8 against David Wells this season.
Zahn will be charged with an error. Duncan picks up the stolen base, his first of the year. He gets a good jump here. David Wells takes a peek at him. Zahn saw the good jump, tried to rush it. Ball takes off on him. Cal Ripken can't make a play on it. Brady Anderson comes in, but Zahn gets the air. Duncan's at third with just 1 out.
Second stolen base of the season for Duncan. A 2-2 count to Girardi. Grounded off Wells' glove over Alomar into shallow right center field. That'll bring in Duncan with the 6th run of the game for the Yankees. Give Girardi the RBI, and the New York lead is now 3.
Boy, that's the way things have been going for the Orioles. David Wells just tipped that ball off the bat of Joe Girardi. I don't know if it makes any difference. Alomar wouldn't have gotten to that ball. That would have been up the middle anyway. But Duncan breaks from third. Got a good jump on the play. Scores easily. So the error proves costly immediately. The error to the catcher, Greg Zahn.
Here's Wade Boggs to bend back from what turns into strike 1. The Orioles play in recent days a little bit reminiscent of the way the Red Sox began the season. Some mental mistakes, more errors than you'd expect, although not nearly as many as Boston made in the first couple of weeks. The pitching's gone south, and just the bad bounces going against them as well.
Well, we knew Boston had a bad defensive club. The Orioles were expected to be the best defensive club in the American League, and they're making an awful lot of mistakes. Another error charge to the catcher.
1-2 to Wade Boggs.
You don't see those numbers very often when you talk about Wade Boggs hitting against any pitcher, but David Wells has given him fits.
Boggs sends one to right. On comes Bonilla to make the catch. Back to first on the play goes Girardi. 2 down as we send you to Carl Ravitch.
All right, Dan, they're putting up plenty of runs in Cleveland. White Sox and Indians in this one. And Alomar, with a couple on, goes to the gap. 2 for 3, a double. Lifetime 272 hitter. He's hitting .338. It was 8-2, but Frank Thomas has just doubled. The bases loaded. That brought in a couple. And the score right now, 8-5 in favor of Cleveland. We'll keep you updated, Dan.
Now, Carl, a couple of hot teams there in Cleveland and Chicago. Indians coming in a game and a half ahead of Chicago in the AL Central. And leading in that game right now. Yankees leading in this game right here. 6-3, top of the 6th. Derek Jeter. Two down, the runner at first, Joe Girardi, a run already in this inning. And Girardi goes. Zahn the throw down, and this one will get into center field. Another stolen base, another error, and another Yankee runner at third.
Zahn really got underneath that ball and it took off on him. Girardi with a short lead, but a great jump. And watch Zahn. He rushes to throw the ball. The ball sails on him. Alomar can't knock it down. Girardi gets a stolen base. I've been there before. Second
Twice.
bad throw for Greg Zahn. 2 errors. He came in defensively in the 5th inning. Taking over for Chris Hoyles.
For Girardi, 4 steals and 4 tries. He's down at third. 2 out in the inning and a 2-1 count on Derek Jeter. Jeter 1 for 3 on the night. Field single, scored a run. A very sloppy game for the Baltimore Orioles. Perhaps fortunate to be trailing only by 3. Jeter chases it, and now Greg Zahn, as we have a dispute on the count, and the Orioles will win the argument and come off the field. Still some confusion. Girardi scampered in from third to score the run in case time was still in, and now Richie Garcia will talk it over with Joe Torre. What was the count?
1-2. I put my hands up to tell 1-2. The scoreboard was wrong. So it is strike 3. The inning is over.
Yankees get another run. A couple of Oriole errors mixed in. 6-3 New York. To Camden Yards, what you see is correct. The Orioles 3 runs on 2 hits with 3 errors. Greg Zahn has driven in 2 with a home run. He's also committed 2 throwing errors. It's been sloppy, and the Yankees have taken advantage to lead 6-3. Remember the big smile on his face after the home run? Well, that's long gone. Bottom of the 6th inning, Kenny Rogers with a 3-run lead, still out there for the Yankees, facing Roberto Alomar. He'll be followed by Palmeiro and Bonilla. Alomar's got an error in this game. Time is called. Rogers has given up just 2 hits.
Robbie Alomar has made a pretty dramatic impression with his new teammates here in the month of April. Set a club record. 39 hits. Cal Ripken, Frank Robinson, Paul Blair. Pretty impressive list of hitters there.
He shattered that record by 7 hits. Kenny Rogers now at 100 pitches. Alomar lays off. Kenny Rogers and Joe Girardi were pretty sure they had strike 3. Didn't get it.
Bob Whitman starts to throw down in the Yankee bullpen.
Just Rogers' 3rd start of the season. High pitch that Alomar sends foul again. Other side, David Wells, who had 3 terrific starts to begin the season, is now in the midst of his 3rd straight subpar performance. Alomar golfs one deep to left. Gerald Williams is back, and it one-hops the wall for a ground rule double. Alomar thought the ball was gone. A one-hopper, Alomar back to second, and we go back to Carl Ravish.
All right, Dan, for one night at Fenway, the Red Sox and their fans forgot about the fact that they were 7-19 heading into this game. Roger Clemens strikes out Cecil Fielder. Cecil now 1 for 38 lifetime against Clemens. Clemens K's 13, goes a full 9 innings, his first complete game since July of 1994. The Red Sox have won 2 in a row, 5 won the final. Dan?
Carl, that is big news for the Boston Red Sox. Did he say 1 for 38?
Wow. Sounds like a Buck Martinez line.
Alomar out at second. On the ground rule double, Rafael Palmeiro is the batter. The Yankees keep moving ahead. And really, the Orioles are giving them the chance to move ahead. But Baltimore's just down 3. They've got to feel pretty good still having a chance to be in this game. We've had scoreboard confusion, base runner confusion, 4 errors in the game.
Now, 2 of the Oriole errors have led to runs. Zahn's error in the 6th on the stolen base by Duncan allowed him to go to third. He's given the score on Girardi's hit. Alomar's error back in the 2nd led to a Yankee run. David Wells had a balk that eventually cost himself a run. It has been kind of a eerie night here at Camden Yards.
Nobody out. Palmeiro grounds a foul, 2-2. Rogers in his first start of the season went 5 1/3. Second start 5+. That's where he is right now at 5+ innings. Over 100 pitches. Wickman continues to throw. Yankees used 4 relievers last night. Kamenicki, Rivera, Nelson, and Wetman. 2-2 pitch. Low ball 3.
Boy, it's difficult each and every night for the Yankees having to go to the bullpen in the 6th inning. You would expect that will change as the starters start to get a few innings under their belt, better command of their pitches. Bob Wickman has pitched a ton already this year.
Full count pitch, low ball 4. Orioles at first and second with nobody out. And Bobby Bonilla due up, and Joe Torre is out of the Yankees' third base dugout.
And I would expect he's going to make a move right here. He sends Mel Stottlemyre out to the mound to talk theory and mechanics. He generally goes out there to make pitching changes. And he has.
Kenny Rogers again, 5+ innings. Bob Wickman coming in to face Bobby Bonilla when we come back.
The all-wheel drive
Here in the 6th inning at Camden Yards, and we've got some more baseball coming your way. Sunday night should be a good one. Defending NL MVP Barry Larkin will lead the Cincinnati Reds into the stick to take on the San Francisco Giants, led by Matt Williams, hot-hitting Barry Bonds, John Miller, Joe Morgan. Sunday night on ESPN, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, on the Sunday Night Baseball Game of the Week.
Well, Kenny Rogers pitches into the 6th inning here. A leadoff double to Alomar and a walk to Palmeiro. Force him out of the ball game. He turns it over to Bob Wickman, who has a club leading 13 appearances. His ERA up around 6, but that's a result of 4 runs in his last outing to the Minnesota Twins. He was roughed up in that outing. 25 hits in 14 2/3 innings.
Roberto Alomar led off the inning with a ground rule double. Rafael Palmeiro walked first and second. Nobody out. 6-3 Yankees. And representing the game's tying run, a guy who would love to break out of a big-time slump, Bobby Bonilla. Just 194 on the season as Bonilla with but 2 home runs. Took one right down the middle for a strike. Bonilla has grounded out to short, been called out on strikes. Kenny Rogers leaves a couple of runners aboard. He can win it if he gets some help from his bullpen. 0-2.
Boy, 2 good pitches to start Bonilla off. Fastballs to the outside part of the plate. Wickman's got a wicked slider, and movement takes it away from Bonilla.
The 0-2. Check swing, ground to right side. It'll advance the runners. Bonilla's out by a couple of steps. You'll hear it from the fans a little bit as the runners move up to second and third with 1 down.
Another frustrating at bat for Bobby Bonilla. 0-2, and then the check swing tapper actually works like a sacrifice as the runners move up. But now that puts Cal Ripken at the plate against Bob Wickman, and you see just 1 hit in 17 at bats.
Wickman will start him low, ball 1. For 2 tonight. Cal Ripken. Bobby Bonilla now 0 for 3. And a 2-run single last night, playing third base out in right field tonight. Ripken is fisted but drops it into right field. The base hit will score 1. Here's Palmeiro. The base hit will score 2, and the Orioles are back within a run at 6-5.
Richie Garcia does the best job of any American League umpire in following the throw to the plate. Cal Ripken cashes in a little bloop single into right. Paul O'Neill comes up throwing. Palmeiro's coming around third. The throw is on the money. But watch the umpire. He moves right around and watches the whole play unfold. Girardi raised the glove. Look at Garcia. He's following the play and has the plate in his full view the entire time. He just comes around, watches the slide, watches the tag, and look how close he is to home.
And the Orioles are right back in it. The 2-run single by Ripken makes it 6-5. Still just 1 down in the inning, and the batter is B.J. Surha. Rogers' line is now complete. Not too many guys give up 3 hits and 5 runs in a ball game.
Boy, if you're playing here in this 96 season and ever feel like you're out of a ball game, you're not paying attention. And if you're pitching in a bullpen, you don't ever think about having a night off. Torrey's got to wonder, when is this thing going to turn around?
1-2 pitch lifted in the air to left. Gerald Williams underneath it and has it for the second out of the inning. Ripken back to first.
The bullpen 7 for 9 in saves, 4 and 2, but they have been worn out. Joe Torre hopeful that things will get sorted out. He's got big Jeff Nelson, who came to this ball club in that Seattle Mariner deal, who was very effective for the Mariners last year, and he's still struggling to find his delivery.
Garcia wants to look at the baseball after Wickman got it back. Well, these days a 4.03 ERA for a bullpen with the Yankees, that's dynamite in the American League. You've got the Tigers, who have a team ERA over 7. And they didn't do themselves much better tonight, losing to Boston 5-1. We showed you Roger Clemens struck out 13.
And Buddy Bell wanted to manage, huh?
I think Sparky's feeling.
He's just counting up his golf swing. That's all he's worried about.
Mike Devereaux takes ball 2, 2-0. Devereaux pretty much platooning with Tony Tarasco. Left-hander Rogers getting the start tonight, so Devereaux's in there. Tarasco came up to me before the game and he said, "Are you the ESPN announcer?" And I said, "I'm one of them tonight." He said, "I don't know how many times I've been on ESPN, but I have never had a hit. I am O for ESPN." So he's anxious. He's got the helmet on. He's anxious to get up there and break the spell. Devereaux with a hot shot off the glove of Duncan into right field. Around to third on the play as Ripken, and the inning will continue.
Those are the plays that have to be made, particularly when a team is coming back on you. Bob Wickman, although he gave up a hot shot, it was a play that should have been made. It's hit right to Duncan's left. Couple of steps, tries to flag it down, goes off his glove into right field. Ripken goes all the way to third, but that's an opportunity to get out of the inning and shut off the Oriole rally here in the 6th.
Six to 5 Yankees. Bottom of the 6th, 2 out, 2 on for Baltimore. Still no scoring on that Mike Devereaux shot. Here's Greg Zahn, who's had a big impact in this game, both with his bat and with his arm. Positively with his bat, hit a 2-run homer. Negatively with his arm, a couple of errors, and just giving Mariano Duncan an error on that play. Zahn with a foul ball down the right field line. That would have tied the game at least.
Zahn pulls this pitch down toward the first base bag. Tino Martinez is camped right on the bag, and you can see his glove was in foul ground, and he helps out Gary Cederstrom, saying, "Hey, that's a foul ball if you need any help." But he was protecting that line, trying to guard against an extra base hit down in the corner.
Zahn hit his home run right-handed last inning, now batting left-handed against Wickman. Ripken at third, Devereaux at first. 2 down and a 1-1 count. He'll take strike 2.
David Wells is back in this ball game. The Orioles have scored 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and they still threaten here. Wells is thinking, "Hey, one more and I'm right back in this thing."
The 1-2 from Wickman. Rounded to second. Duncan has 2 errors in this game, and this time he makes the play. And for the moment at least, Kenny Rogers still does have a chance to win. 6-5 Yankees.
I can't believe I'm losing my hair back here.
Like father, like son.
Yeah, right.
Look, if you want to regrow some hair, check this.
5 Yankees, 5 errors so far in this game. 2 by Zahn, 2 by Duncan. Coming up this weekend, practice laps for the Indy 500 on ESPN2 on both Saturday and Sunday. You'll have some new names here. This is the Indy Racing League. Ari Leyendyk is the only former champion among the entrants. This weekend on the Deuce, Indy 500 practice comes your way. David Wells is still in this ball game despite trailing 6-5. He's given up 10 hits. Kenny Rogers gave up just 3 of the 4 Oriole hits. Yankees out hitting Baltimore 10-4, but have just a 1-run lead. Paul O'Neill leads off the top of the 7th.
He got a chance to play every day now, and against left-handers, he's hitting almost 300. So much of hitting, as we've talked about all night long, is confidence. O'Neill has been a great hitter since he's come over to the Yankees. He played in Cincinnati and hit .259 in the National League, and all of a sudden he's well over 300. Won a batting title. I asked him about that. I said, what made you a better hitter here in the American League? He said, Don Mattingly and Wade Boggs. They talked to me about not giving away any at-bats, and I try to be consistent each and every time.
And he sends the 0-2 to right center field. Very playable for Bobby Bonilla. 1 down.
He gets so frustrated when he gives away at-bats. He said, it doesn't bother me to have a good at-bat and line out for an out, but it bothers me to have a bad swing and make outs.
$47,472 on a nice night for baseball here on the 1st of May. Glad you're along with us here at Camden Yards in Baltimore. 6-5 Yankees leading the Orioles. David Wells facing Ruben Sierra. New York came into action tonight a half game ahead of the slumping Orioles for first place in the American League East. Baltimore's lost 10 of 13. Ball, 1 strike to Sierra. RBIs on the season for the cleanup man Ruben Sierra, but good numbers against David Wells.
Well, right now he's not going to have this type of success against David Wells because he's pulling off that outside pitch right there. He just has no chance to hit that pitch. He's always had that high leg kick, and it's now taking him off the pitch. Watch his front shoulder. You see how his front shoulder flies open, and he just can't get to that outside half of the plate. The only chance he has to hit Wells right now is if David makes some mistakes and throws it inside.
They set up inside. Sierra gets under it, hits it to very shallow left field. Jeffrey Hammonds is in to make the play. 2 down. Let's get an update. Here's Carl Ravitch.
Hi, Dan. Thank you. Already Brady hit his 12th in your game. Gary Sheffield's got 11, and his bid for 12 is here. And Sheff gets all of it. Number 12, tied now with Anderson for the Major League lead. It scored Conine, though they're still down 6-4 to the Phillies. Dan and Buck.
Wow, he got just a bit of that one. 12 home runs for Gary Sheff. It'll be nice to see him get a full season. He's been out with injuries a lot. Tino Martinez fly ball left field. Hammonds is there again, and that's it. 3 up, 3 down for the Yankees in the 7th. Still 6-5 New York.
If you do this, you need this. If you get these.
6-5 Yankees leading the Orioles, bottom of the 7th. David Wells has labored and battled and struggled through 7 innings so far, but he's still out there. This pitching summary is brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paint and Wallpaper Stores. There's David Wells' line. 108 pitches, 10 hits, 6 earned runs, but it's just a 1-run game. Kenny Rogers gave up 5 earned runs on just 3 hits. Gave up a couple of home runs, and Bob Wickman allowed a couple of inherited runners to score. And the Orioles are back within 1. The number 9 hitter for the Orioles will lead it off here in the 7th, Jeffrey Hammonds. Base hit left field. The tying run is aboard.
Jeffrey Hammonds didn't waste any time. He got a hanging slider from Bob Wickman and ripped it by Wade Boggs at 3rd. That ball stays right over the middle of the plate. Not a lot of break on it, just sat up there and spun, and Hammonds took advantage of that mistake.
Top of the order now, Brady Anderson. Home run number 12. He and Gary Sheffield now share the major league lead. Just outside, ball one from Wickman. Home run here gives the Orioles the lead.
Well, you could argue that, but you could also say, how about a bunt and set the table for Alomar and Palmeiro? Orioles are down by a run. Once again, Anderson has worked himself into a 2-0 count. That was the count he had leading off the game. Hit a home run off Kenny Anderson.
Hammond's the lead. Not going. Inside corner. 2 balls and a strike now to Anderson. He's got some thoughts for Richie Garcia.
Wickman looked like he threw this ball a little harder. Inside corner. Had just enough movement to catch that inside edge of the plate.
Spin and fire to first. Hammonds is back.
Left-hander Steve Howe just about ready down in the bullpen.
The 2-1 is high for ball 3. Joe Torre electing to stay with Wickman against Anderson. The switch hitter Alomar is on deck. And then behind Alomar is another left-handed hitter, Rafael Palmeiro. Wickman hopeful if they bat this inning. The Orioles trying to get something going. There goes Hammonds. Anderson sends the 3-1 to left field. Not deep. Gerald Williams is there, and Hammonds will retreat to first.
Second baseman, Roberto Alomar.
Joe Torre has come out of the Yankee dugout. He's got Howe ready. Remember, the perception is that Alomar is a much stronger left-handed hitter, so Torre says, okay, let's have Howe in here, and we'll swip Alomar back around.
Steve Howe, Roberto Alomar in a tight game when we come back.
Before you hit the wall, hit Sherwin-Williams for the best paint money can buy.
Hitting once again tremendously. A .354 average. This one to right. His 6th home run of the season. Randy Johnson had to leave this game with a tight right calf. He'll be examined more on Friday.
Well, his second start that Johnson's had to leave because of some injury problems. Bob Wickman is left here. The left-hander Steve Howe is on in a very close game to face switch hitter Roberto Alomar. 6'5" Yankees, bottom of the 7th, 1 on, 1 out.
Steve Howe hasn't pitched since Friday at Yankee Stadium. Joe Torre kind of in a catch-22 in this situation with Alomar, the switch hitter. Alomar has hit right-handed all night long. First against the starter Kenny Rogers, and now against Steve Howe. That's why I may have left Wickman in to flip Alomar around for the first time tonight.
Jeffrey Hammond singled to lead off the inning. You saw very strong numbers for Alomar in his career against Steve Howe. Alomar a double in 3 trips tonight, hitting .374. The 0-1. Missed. Ball 1. Just a little bit outside.
David Wells is thinking, man, this would be a pretty swift W if I could pick it up the way I've struggled tonight.
1 ball, 2 strikes as Alomar fouls it off.
Howe may eventually get Robbie Alomar out. But my thinking is the fact that Alomar has hit all night long. This is his 4th at bat against a left-handed pitcher. And he says, when I get good at bats against lefties, I can hit them. And he's hitting very effectively against them this year. Over .350.
Howe ahead of him, 1-2. Fly ball center field and deep. Back is Bernie Williams. Jumps! And Bernie Williams makes the catch and takes away a potential home run from Roberto Alomar.
No problem, Joe. Had him all the way. Robbie Alomar hit it to the deepest part of this ballpark, 400 feet away to straightaway center. It's a high fastball. Howe knew it was going to be close, and Bernie Williams keeps it in the ballpark.
Make a little note of that. Still 6-5 Yankees. Great play by Bernie Williams. 2 down. And now Howe will face left-hand hitting Rafael Palmeiro. Jeffrey Hammond still at first. Strike one. Still a pretty good buzz going around this ballpark after that catch by Bernie Williams. Breaking ball inside.
Well, Palmeiro hasn't enjoyed the same success as Alomar against Steve Howe. Just 2 for 12.
The 1-1. Palmeiro lifts it in the air, shallow left. Gerald Williams in. He'll make the catch, and the Orioles threaten but cannot tie the game. Bernie Williams with a home run saving catch.
Field jumps and robs Robbie Alomar of a 2-run home run. Steve Howe, the pitcher, very appreciative of the defensive effort by Bernie Williams. Way to pick me up, Bernie.
Williams has had a big game both ways. A base hit and a home run as well. And he's going to lead it off against a new pitcher for the Orioles. David Wells struggles for 7 innings. Had hopes of picking up a win. He won't get it as Roger McDowell is on now to work the top of the 8th.
McDowell closing in on 20 innings already this year. He worked last night, worked an inning in the 3rd, gave up just 1 hit. One of the few pitchers in that ball game last night that didn't give up any runs.
13-10. Yanks won last night, leading 6-5 tonight. This game won't threaten 4 hours and 21 minutes in 9 innings. But this is no tidy Greg Maddux an hour and 58-minute job either, as Bernie Williams has his 3rd hit of the game. Sends it into left field. The big turn at first, but content with a leadoff single.
Now you can expect the Yankees to do something here, either play hit and run or put the sacrifice on, trying to pad that 1-run lead. Joe Torre has played the short game all year long, now getting some advice from Don Zimmer, his bench coach.
Mariano Duncan's had a good night as well. 372. Base hit right field and an infield single his last time up. Good speed on the bases, and Williams, who already has 6 stolen bases this season.
It's a good combination for a hit and run right here. Williams with good speed. Mariano Duncan really handles the bat well. He's got a big hole on the right side to shoot for, and Greg Zahn has had a tough time throwing tonight.
Twice he's thrown the ball into center field, charged with a couple of errors.
Straight away on the left side, Alomar stepped toward the bag, and with Palmeiro holding the runner on, there's a big hole for Duncan to shoot for on the right side.
Diving back is Williams. Second half of our doubleheader. Colorado, Los Angeles coming up right behind us. Stay tuned for that. We've got a good one here. 6-5 Yankees leading the Orioles, 8th inning. The 1-0. There for a strike.
Jesse Orozco, the left-hander, begins to throw down in the Oriole pen.
Dowell will look over at Bernie Williams. And a check on Williams.
McDowell's very quick to the plate. He unloads the ball in a hurry. Now he wants to talk to Cal Ripken about coverage, I'm sure. He's got me if I get a ball back to the mound.
The Orioles will take one any way they can get one these days, having lost 10 of 13. They've given some runs away tonight. 3 errors in the game. Yankees have 2. Williams not going as Duncan swings through it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Boy, that's a good Roger McDowell sinker. He throws it right to the heart of the plate and bottom falls out. That's what the Orioles are looking for right now, a ground ball. They're looking for 2.
Dowell trying to confuse Williams by really varying not only when he throws over, but how long he sets before he decides whether or not to come to the plate or go to the bag.
Well, you can really make a base runner nervous if you make him wait, and that's what McDowell does. And then finally he throws the ball over. McDowell caught a break because that hit Williams on the right arm. That's the only thing that kept it close to the bag at first.
Duncan the batter, Williams the base runner, and Williams goes. Duncan swings and misses. He's gone. The throw down. Williams is gone. Double play.
As a catcher, you begin to wonder if you could ever throw out a base runner. A real boost for Greg Zahn. Decent jump by Bernie Williams, but I mentioned McDowell unloads in a hurry, and Zahn fires will strike to Ripken, who puts the tag on a sliding Bernie Williams. Strike him out, throw him out.
And a sigh of relief, not only for some of the Orioles, but for many of their fans as well. Still a 6-5 game, 2 down, nobody on now. Gerald Williams the batter.
Big confidence booster for Greg Zahn, who had thrown 2 balls in the center. He throws a strike to erase that leadoff base hit by Bernie Williams.
Gerald Williams takes low, ball 2. Gerald has a home run in this game as well. Hit it back in the 2nd inning. Ground ball left side, charged by Surhoff, and no play as he tried to barehand it. Williams is aboard with his 3rd hit of the night.
That's the only chance B.J. Surhoff had. That swinging bunt down the 3rd base line. He was deep, well behind the bag. You can see he has to come on the run. Tries to barehand it, can't come up with it. Then Williams is on.
The inning will continue for the Yankees. Gerald Williams at first, and Joe Girardi is the batter. Bottom part of the order for the Yankees has been huge in this game. Bernie Williams 3 hits, Duncan 2, Gerald Williams 3 hits. He's the base runner now, and Joe Girardi, who's batting, has an RBI single in this game. That's one of the advantages that we talked about earlier that the Yankees may have over the Orioles is better depth. Players like a Gerald Williams, like a Mariano Duncan, who can step in. Jim Leyritz, who hasn't played tonight, a terrific player, can play 3-4 positions, hit the ball out of the ballpark. He smoked one way out of his ballpark last night. Orioles maybe with some bigger frontline names, but not as much support as the Yankees have. Forget Rockies and Dodgers right behind us. Dowell to the plate, and Girardi takes it down and in.
Jeff Nelson, big right-hander, going down in the Yankee bullpen. He's really not locked in yet the way Joe Torre expects him to throw. Last year, he was a very important cog in that Mariners pennant. Now talking about getting a grip on that changeup. There's a man that'll teach you how to throw it, Jimmy Key.
Yankees hoping that Key and Cone can overcome their physical problems, get back on the beat.
Cone goes tomorrow, and that'll be a very important start. Jimmy Key threw today, his workout day, and Mel Stottlemyre was thrilled how well he threw. He goes on Friday against the White Sox. Doc Gooden goes Saturday. So 3 pretty significant starts in the next 3 days for the Yankees. Very un-Jimmy Key-like numbers right there, but he's coming back from shoulder surgery.
A 4-pitch walk issued to the number 9 hitter Girardi. That'll push Gerald Williams up to second and give the Yankees another chance to pad their lead. Davey Johnson is out. The move has been made. Jesse Orosco coming in to face Wade Boggs. The Yankees lead 6-5.
Wednesday Night Baseball is brought to you by Office Depot, taking care of business for companies of every size, everywhere, every day.
6-5 Yankees over the Orioles. Bucket may be early, and it definitely is sloppy, but it's a win for somebody, and the Yankees got an early sloppy win last night, 13-10, and when all is said and done at the end of the season, these two teams will probably be pretty close to one another for top spot in this division.
Well, both of these teams are going to play a lot better than they're playing right now. You can bank on that. Jesse Orosco is another one of these Oriole pitchers that has a very inflated ERA. Orosco had back-to-back outings April 18th and 19th against the Red Sox and the Texas Rangers that were just a nightmare. In those 2 outings, he pitched 2 1/3, gave up 10 hits and 12 earned runs.
Roger McDowell leaves, giving way for a former and again teammate in Jesse Orosco. David Johnson going lefty-lefty. Boggs and Orosco in a key situation. 6-5 New York, 2 on, first and second, 2 out, top of the 8th, and Orosco has held the upper hand in this battle. Works and misses down and away, ball 1.
The pressure's really on the Oriole outfield here with Boggs at the plate and the speedy Gerald Williams at second. He'll get a good break, and you can see they're a step or 2 closer to the infield now, thinking that Boggs probably won't line it over their head, but they've got to come charging on a base hit.
1-1. Hammonds in left, Anderson in center, Bonilla in right, the outfield for the Orioles tonight. The 1-1 from Orosco. Bouncing ball down to first, played by Palmeiro, and the Yankees are done. They leave a couple of runners aboard, Bonilla, Ripken, and then B.J. Surhoff due up for the Orioles in a 1-run game. Our key plays of the game. Greg Zahn came on to catch, replacing Chris Hoyles, who was injured. Here in the 6th inning, Mariano Duncan tries to steal second. Zahn throws it into center field. He would do that again later in the inning on another attempt. The Orioles would score a run. Bernie Williams is back and makes a catch, robbing Roberto Alomar of what could have been and should have been a 2-run home run. Had that ball gone out, the Orioles would lead by 1. Instead, the Orioles trail by 1 in the bottom of the 8th. As you take a look at what has gone on, very poorly played in the field, 5 errors and 2 or 3 more mental errors committed in this game. Kenny Rogers in his 3rd start deserved a better fate. Gerald Williams and Bernie Williams have both been key factors for the Yankees. David Wells struggled through 7 but hung in there, and Brady Anderson, way back when, so long ago, hit his 5th leadoff home run and his American League leading 12th home run of the season. He and Gary Sheffield share the major league lead.
Big right-hander Jeff Nelson comes on here to work the 8th inning. Nelson was the winning pitcher in last night's game. Picked up his first win of the season. This will be his 10th appearance. He's got a save. Still struggling with his control. Generally, he's always around the plate. 8 walks so far in just 10 1/3 innings.
Middle of the order for the Orioles. Bonilla, Ripken, and Surhoff in a 1-run game. Bobby Bonilla struggling, as we've mentioned often, down to 192. 0 for 3 tonight. Shot to center. It'll drop for a base hit in front of Bernie Williams.
Well, that's a start for Bobby Bonilla. What a good play by Bernie Williams, the center fielder. Bonilla hits it on a line to center. Williams thinks he's got a shot at making the play. He comes hard, but then throws the brakes on and watch the glove work. Boy, he does a good job of keeping that ball right there, holding Bonilla to a single. That gets by him. Bonilla's probably at third base.
Now the batter, Cal Ripken. Bonilla at first. Nobody out in the Baltimore 8th in a 1-run Yankee lead, and Nelson will start Ripken with a strike. Nelson particularly difficult on the right-hand hitters. Crowd is waiting for a reason to explode. The Orioles haven't led since the 1st after the Anderson home run. High 1-1.
Well, Cal Ripken, like most American League right-handed hitters, has not had much success against Jeff Nelson. Got a 3/4 delivery, and he has a big sweeping slider. It's very tough to get to. That's it right there that missed outside.
Inning here, Rockies and Dodgers coming up. 6-5 Yankees. Runner goes, and Ripken on the hit and run fouls it back. And he had a pretty good jump.
Now Davey Johnson trying to get something going here. He's got Bonilla on first base, leadoff single. They're down by a run. Figuring that Cal Ripken can make contact, he chose to start the runner. A little frustrated by the fact that they couldn't get that thing done. Ripken did a good job of getting a piece of it. That ball was probably 8 inches outside. It's just the way things are going for the Orioles right now.
Bonilla with a base hit to center to lead off the 8th. The Orioles continually threatening but unable to catch up. This is as close as they've been in a while. The 2-2 sails down and away, and a full count to Ripken. You start him on 3-2.
Yeah. You expect Cal Ripken to be able to put the ball in play. Try to open up a hole on the infield. If he does get a ball on the ground, maybe it can find its way into the outfield.
He's going. And again, Ripken fouled it off. That time, Bonilla didn't get much of a break at all as he started back to the bag before breaking for second.
Nelson did a good job of unloading this in a hurry, and you see it caught Bonilla by surprise. He's lucky Ripken got a piece of that.
The battle continues between Nelson and Ripken. Into right field, the base hit. Bonilla was on the move, and he's heading for third. The throw from O'Neill is cut. First and third, nobody out.
Cal Ripken is hung tough against two pitchers that give him fits. He got a hit off Wickman in his previous at bat, and here he gets his second hit in his career off Jeff Nelson. A hit and run single to right field. Bonilla goes first to third, and the Orioles are knocking on the door here. Cal, for one of the few times, is being removed from a ball game. Pinch runner on at first base. Manny Alexander, the backup shortstop.
Getting a rare chance to play and in an important situation here. Right now, Alexander represents the potential go-ahead run at first. And that's the reason that Ripken has been taken out of the game. First and third, nobody out. 6-5 Yankees in the eighth. B.J. Surhoff grounds one foul.
This matchup favors the Orioles. Yankees are playing the middle of the infield back. They'll take a double play and give up that game-tying run.
Nelson will step off and force Alexander back to the bag. Bobby Bonilla led off with a base hit. Moved around to third on the single by Ripken. Ripken replaced by the pinch runner, Alexander. Nobody out. Orioles down a run. And now they've got Alexander hung up between first and second, and he is gone.
How many times have you seen pitchers use that fake to third, go to first, and nothing happens? But the pinch runner for Cal Ripken, Manny Alexander, very aggressive at first. Moves on Nelson's first move. His head's down. He doesn't even know that Nelson is going back to first. Jeter puts the tag on Manny Alexander, and just like that, the pinch runner is gone.
Ripken out of the game for the Orioles. Alexander steaming in the Oriole dugout. One out. Surhoff with a mighty cut. No balls and two strikes. Bonilla remains at third, and Surhoff needing a fly ball now to get in the tying run as the Yankees have brought the infield in. At 0-2, he's just got to worry about making some contact. Changes the whole complexion of the inning.
Boy, doesn't it? And the Orioles were being aggressive. They had a play on with Alexander, but because he hasn't played much, he was over aggressive and broke. Now Ripken is out of the game. Alexander will take over defensively. Mistakes, mental mistakes and physical mistakes have plagued the Orioles all night long.
The 0-2. Close pitch, ball one. Remember a couple of weeks ago when things were going great for the Orioles, Cal Ripken talked about a return to Oriole baseball. For the first time in years, it feels like we're playing Oriole baseball. That can't be said tonight or throughout this whole 3-10 slide there. Down and in, 2-2 to Surhoff.
This is not what he was thinking about when he was talking Oriole baseball. There have been 3 errors in the game. There have been probably more than 3 mental mistakes. They got off to a great start, but it really hit the skids, and you've got to give a lot of credit to the Texas Rangers who got that skid started. They beat them 6 out of 7.
Outside, full count now to B.J. Surhoff. Remember, this at bat started 0-2. So you want to be a manager, huh?
They both walked about 5 miles in that dugout tonight.
Full count pitch. Surhoff grounds it to first. Tino Martinez will look back, Vinny, and make the play. 2 down.
All right, such a promising start to this inning. The Orioles try to tie it up. Now they're down to the last out. They had first and third, nobody out. Manny Alexander then got picked off. B.J. Surhoff grounds out to the first baseman, and Bobby Bonilla is still standing at third.
And pinch hitting for Mike Devereaux is the man who told us before the game that he's 0 for ESPN. Has never had a hit on an ESPN game, and would now be a perfect time for Tony Tarasco to break through and tie up this game in the minds of Oriole fans. Devereaux DH tonight, went 0 for 3, and a strike to Tarasco.
Carrasco has the only Oriole RBI as a pinch hitter. They're 5 for 15 as a club with just 1 ribby. He got off to a pretty decent start playing in right field, but then hasn't been able to keep that stroke going.
The 1-1 from Nelson. A little bit off the plate, ball 2.
One thing we need to point out is the fact that the most effective pitcher for the Yankees, Mariano Rivera, is unavailable tonight. He pitched 2 perfect innings again last night, and Torrey has to sit him down as much as he would like to use him.
Low strike, 2-2, and Tarasco doesn't like it. Nor does his manager.
Tarasco felt like this ball was low. He had a good look at it and then was really surprised when Richie Garcia called it a strike. He said, oh man, that ball was low.
Bonilla at third. The 2-2. Fly ball, center field. Back is Bernie Williams to make the catch and retire the side. And that fly ball might have brought in the tying run had Manny Alexander not been picked off after pinch running for Cal.
Faking. He's got it. Young can't get back in time. They double him up. It is zip. And home team has come up to bat. Let's get back to you. We'll get you out to that game after this.
Here with the 9th inning, Carl. 6-5 Yankees leading the Orioles, and there's the man of the hour for all the wrong reasons for Baltimore.
Manny Alexander came on as a pinch runner, and he's trying to distract Jeff Nelson. Gives him a couple of waves and then goes on Nelson's fake to third. Nelson fires to second base, and Manny Alexander is gunned down. Jeff Nelson did a good job. First and third, nobody out, and he got out of it. Stranded Bonilla at third after Bonilla reached on a leadoff single. Manny Alexander still upset by his base running mistake. One of many made by the Orioles here tonight.
And Ripken out of the game. Alexander pinch ran for him. Alexander heard it from the crowd too, and he was announced as the new shortstop here in the 9th inning. He was roundly booed, and this is a guy who's been pretty vocal about wanting more playing time, and he's done nothing to endear himself either to management or the fans. We're done play tonight. Derek Jeter, 0-2.
Well, that's a situation where Alexander finally got an opportunity to make a contribution, and he was anxious to make something happen. Unfortunately, it was something bad.
Jesse Orosco on the mound for Baltimore, top of the 9th. Does Jeter go around? No, says Gary Cedarstrom down at first. A ball and 2 strikes.
Jeter had a tough night at the plate. He got pretty close to swinging at that pitch, but Cedarstrom felt like he held the bat back.
Very poised for a rookie, Derek Jeter. All kinds of minor league awards as he shot up through the Yankee system. 2-2. Probably what the Yankees are happiest about is how he's played in the field. Just 2 errors, and he's really played some good heady baseball.
Joe Torre said he's a totally different player now during the regular season than he saw in spring training. Big breaking ball right there. Continues to struggle here with the bat tonight. Big sweeping breaking ball from Jesse Orosco. For 2 strikes, Jeter goes after it.
Paul O'Neill, trouble tonight, 0 for 4, and trouble in his career against Orosco, 0 for 6. O'Neill came into the game hitting .400, and the offer has dropped into .382. This might help right center field, but on is Anderson to make the catch. 2 down, and the average will drop a little bit further.
Right-hander John Wetland loosens up. There's a save out there if situation stays the same. Yankees up by a run. Jeff Nelson did a great job after giving up back-to-back hits to Bonilla and Ripken to hold the ground and protect that Yankee lead.
Ruben Sierra, the batter. Very strong numbers against Orosco. 2 down, nobody out, top of the 9th, and Orosco starts in the high, ball 1. Jesse Orosco quoted in the local paper yesterday saying, "I just want to give my manager confidence to put me in there in a key situation." He struggled so badly. It was part of that infamous 26-7 loss. Here he gets the Yankees 3 up, 3 down to the 9th, and he's given his team a chance. Brady Anderson is due up this inning in a 1-run game.
Clark, and he watches it. On target, over the wall. 5-4. The Rangers are now on top for Will. Home run number 4 is 5-4 Rangers. Elsewhere, and this game is underway, Rockies and Dodgers zip. Eric Karros, a deep fly to the warning track, gets hot. They have played 1. We'll get you out there at the conclusion of this one, fellas.
Thanks, Carl. We have reached the bottom of the 9th. 6-5. Yankees leading the Orioles. The big man in the bullpen for the Yankees is on to try and wrap it up.
John Wetland with 5 saves so far this season. This will be his 11th game of the year. They had trouble getting Wetland any meaningful outings early on with the cold weather, the fact that there weren't too many safe situations. 11 innings, 10 hits, a couple of home runs allowed. He is the only bullpenner for the Yankees that has given up a home run. Manny Alexander still distraught on the bench after coming on as a pinch runner and getting picked off in a very promising 8th inning. He came on as a pinch runner for Cal Ripken, who singled.
Catcher Greg Zaun will lead off the bottom of the 9th for the Orioles. 1 hopper to second, and Duncan, who has made 2 errors in this game, has just made his 3rd. He made the tough play by coming up with the ball, and then he blew the easy play by throwing it away.
Wow, that wasn't even close. What a play he made to grab this hot shot. And then he turns, takes his time, and throws it about 10 feet wide of the mark. Man, oh man, the Gremlins are out tonight. And Zaun's been in the middle of it all night long.
The tying run aboard. Jeffrey Hammonds the batter against John Wetland. He squares to bunt and takes high, ball 1. Mariano Duncan with 3 errors in this game. With Zaun down at first. A 2-0 count now. Remember, Chris Hoyles left this game with an injury in the 4th inning, so Zaun is really the only true catcher left. Hammonds gets the bunt down. Some miscommunication. The Yankees get him. And I mean just barely. Now the sacrifice for Hammonds pushes Zahn up to second.
Boy, Tino Martinez and John Wetland almost had a fatal mistake there. Tino wasn't sure if Wetland was going to get it. Hammonds puts down a good bunt to the first base side of the mound. Look at the hesitation by Wetland. You going to get it? No, you get it. Oh, I better get it. All the while, Hammonds is hustling down the line and almost beat it out.
Might have beat it out.
Looked like he was across the bag.
John Wetland on to try and save it for Kenny Rogers. Facing Brady Anderson, who has homered tonight, has 12 on the season. It gets away, and on to third comes Greg Zahn. Gremlins are one thing. This is getting ridiculous.
Duncan's there after he made a nice play. And now a wild pitch on a curveball. Girardi can't smother it. And the tying run is a third.
And the infield is in. And Brady Anderson is the batter, having homered in his only previous at-bat against Wetland. He took a strike.
That's a new pitch that Anderson's probably not that familiar with. There you see his record against Wetland. But Wetland's throwing a cut fastball, a little bit more of a slider. He's always been fastball, curveball. But here he drops that new breaking pitch on him, and Brady Anderson takes it right down the middle.
0-1. Anderson had a mighty cut at it. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
This is a curveball. Bottom fell out of that thing.
Count in Wetland's favor. Zahn at third. 1 out, infield in. Yanks lead 6-5 in the 9th. Anderson fouled it off. Wetland has 5 saves on the season. 4 of them have been in games where he came in the 9th inning with a 3-run lead. The easiest type of save that a closer like Wetland could come up with. That's just circumstance, but he hasn't had many of these types of situations this year. The 1-2 inside to Anderson, turned away from it a bit.
In Wetland's defense, he shouldn't be in this situation. First batter of the inning got on Mariano Duncan's 4th error of the game. 3rd error, excuse me.
You know something we don't?
I hope not.
The way this game has gone.
Oh, what a good play by Girardi. And the curveball in dirt. And that time he slid over and smothered it. Vittori hasn't sat down in 3 innings. Watch Girardi. Quick to his right. The breaking ball in the dirt. That's the last thing you think about as a catcher before you're ready to catch the pitch. Don't let anything get by you. That tying run 90 feet away at third.
Full count. And Brady Anderson draws the walk on a big breaking ball that looked like it dropped right into the strike zone. Joe Girardi turned on Richie Garcia.
Take a look at this 3-2 curveball. Boy, oh boy, that was close. Too tough to take, that's for sure. Anderson just got fooled. He couldn't pull the trigger. He was thinking fastball.
Anderson represents the winning run. He's at first. Zahn is at third. 1 out, and the batter, Roberto Alomar. As good a situational hitter as there is in baseball. Is he thinking tie it up, or is he thinking let's go ahead and win this thing? Lined in the left center field. Bernie Williams makes the catch. Tagging is on. The throw to the plate. Not in time. 6-6 tie.
Boy, Alomar has the ability to do whatever necessary. Got that ball away from him. Didn't try to muscle it. Took it the other way to center field. Watch the approach here. They're trying to go away. That's where it is. But Alomar drives it to center. Bernie Williams has to go over to the left center and can't get enough on the throw to gun down the tying run. Greg Zahn. He immediately went back, tagged up, and now he comes in to score.
The batter, Palmeiro. Anderson is running. Throw down from Girardi, and safe at second is Brady Anderson.
Joe Girardi has had no success at all at throwing out base runners, but this is another example of why his numbers are down. Look at the jump at first base. Girardi throws a strike on the money, and he has no chance at all of getting Brady Anderson.
The count is 1-0, and the Yankees are going to walk Palmeiro. His run doesn't mean anything, of course, to get to the struggling Bobby Bonilla, who did single sharply to center his last time up.
And that came against the right-hander Bob Whitman. The Yankees at one point had a 5-1 lead.
And it all started with Mariano Duncan's third error of the game that allowed the leadoff man aboard here in the ninth. Anderson at second, Palmeiro at first, 2 down, Bonilla the batter, bottom of the ninth. Wetland has dominated. Bonilla in the head-to-head matchup.
Bobby Bonilla is looking for something to get him started on a roll offensively. And this is a perfect situation.
It fouled sharply down the right field line. A ball and a strike. For a guy who's been getting booed the last few days, this is a golden opportunity. For a guy who's been getting booed tonight, Alexander wants Bonilla probably to draw the walk so he can go up there and try to win it. His base running mistake cost the Orioles a run. Back in the 8th. And now the Bobby cheer echoes through the stadium. 1 ball, 2 strikes on a great fastball from Wetland.
And we haven't seen many in this inning. He was kind of waiting for a good Wetland fastball, but here he goes upstairs and blows it by Bobby Bonilla. Remember, Bonilla just 1 for 13 against John Wetland.
Out at second, Brady Anderson. Bonilla strikes out on another good high fastball from Wetland. And this game is going to extra innings. Back and forth they've gone. It's all tied up at 6.
World premiere of sport.
If and when is right, Carl. Top of the 13th. Wade Boggs leads it off. Base hit, left center field. First pitch swinging is Wade Boggs, as he opens up the inning with a base hit off Kent Merker, who is out of the rotation and into this ball game in relief.
Merker made 5 starts and got roughed up. 29 hits in 22 1/3. They decided to take him out of the rotation. They didn't expect to use him this quickly out of the bullpen.
That phone's going to be worn out by the end of this game. Leadoff man aboard, top of the 13th. Boggs at first. Jeter again, will square. This time he'll get it down. Merker off the mound. 1 play, that's to first. They don't make it. And the runners will move up to second and third with nobody out in the top of the 13th.
Another error. That'll be a sacrifice for Jeter. Merker threw it into the base runner, and Alomar couldn't come up with it. A good bunt by Derek Jeter. Right off the plate in front of home. Merker makes an awkward throw. It's into the base runner. Alomar can't make it. Boggs slides into second, sees the ball into shallow right field, and breaks for third. Boy, there have been some outstanding scoring opportunities for both teams in extra innings.
Scored a sacrifice for Jeter, and then an error on the pitcher Merker, allowing the runners to move around to second and third. The 8th error of the game. Roberto Alomar has one in this game. Wade Boggs at third, Jeter at second. Orioles have brought the infield in, top of the 13th. Paul O'Neill against Kent Merker. Bounced in, and a terrific stop by Zahn, where the Yankees take the lead.
Well, it was a great stop. A breaking ball wide of the plate. Watch how far he has to go to his left. And he just pinned it up against his body. He was really kind of fortunate. He didn't block it. He lucked out and just trapped it with his arm.
O'Neill ground ball to second. Alomar has it. Looks Boggs back. 1 out in the inning. And O'Neill's 0 for 6. And up steps Ruben Sierra, again hitting right-handed, and he's 0 for 5. So the 3-4 hitters for the Yankees have not taken part in the offense tonight. Sierra won't get a chance to do so here.
Second time tonight they put Sierra on. They worked to Tino Martinez.
You ever played a game like this? I mean, it's not like there have been 25 runs scored. It's only 6-6, but with as many strange plays as there have been in this game?
No, I honestly can't remember anything like it, because there have been so many opportunities for the Orioles to win late in the ball game. The Yankee pitchers going back to Nelson, Wetland, and Messier. They pitched out of some tough situations. It looked like the Orioles were going to win it, but the Yankee bullpen has kept them off the board.
Davey Johnson looking on as a light rain has begun falling here in the top of the 13th. Bases loaded, 1 out. Tino Martinez against Kent Merker. Ground ball, Alomar to second for 1. Alexander to first. Double play. Palmeiro scoops it out of the dirt. And to the bottom of the 13th we go with some good Oriole defense, still in a 6-6 tie.
Sports.
Your eyes do not deceive you. This is the bottom of the 14th in Baltimore. 6-6 New York and Baltimore, and we have long ago left Wednesday in the East. Now Thursday morning, and just to make matters a little more interesting, the rain is picking up. Andy Pettitte, who started last night and got racked 8 innings, or 8 runs in an inning plus, is on in relief here for the Yankees. Second inning of work. He faces B.J. Surhoff, who lifts a fly ball left center field pretty deep. Bernie Williams is back to make the catch, 1 down. With each swing of the bat, the crowd gets a little more anxious that maybe this will be the swing that ends it.
Well, both of these clubs are going to sit back and think about this game and all of the wasted opportunities they've had. Even to the top of this inning, Bernie Williams led things off with a leadoff double, and the Yankees couldn't chase him home.
And the late game of our doubleheader steaming right along into the 7th inning in Los Angeles. We will take you there, assuming it's still happening there when this one finishes. Tony Tarasco is the batter. Came on for Mike Devereaux as a pinch hitter back in the 8th inning, so he's relatively fresh compared to some of the other guys in this game. The appeal, no swing, 2-0.
Carrasco didn't even get close to that one, but the Yankees asked for the appeal at 3rd.
1 down, nobody on. Ground ball, weakly hit right side. This could be trouble, and it is.
Once again, indecision between Yankee fielders. We saw it with Wetland and Tino Martinez. We saw it with Fox and Jeter at 2nd, and now Pettit and Tino Martinez. A swinging bunt down the first base line. Pettit gets off the mound quickly, picks it up, and then tries to throw to first, but there's nobody there. Tino Martinez has to continue after this ball, and Pettit should go to the bag. That's the best way to make the play. Pettit should have continued to first base right there. Carrasco runs so well, I don't know if it would have made any difference. But we have seen a little bit of everything.
And that will break the 0 for ESPN streak that was troubling Carrasco so before this game.
Oh, he almost got picked up. Andy Pettit with a great move caused Tony to hesitate. Watch Tarasco. He took 1/2 step towards second and just barely got back.
1 down, 1 on. The batter is the catcher, Greg Zahn. He's homered in this game. Another throw to first. Back is Tarasco. Orioles have Jeff Hughes and Billy Ripken on the bench. Yankees have Jim Leyritz, Tim McIntosh, Tim Raines. Don't ask about the pitchers. Now to the plate comes Pettit, and Zahn will take a ball.
Now this drizzle is coming down at Camden Yards. You got to think about a ball on the grass in the infield, maybe getting wet. Being tough for an infielder to make a throw on. Carrasco's been perfect in the stolen base department, but Andy Pettit is so tough to get a jump on. He picked off 8 last year.
The 1-0. Zahn will take a breaking ball strike. And on the pitch to the plate, Carrasco took a little hop back closer to the bag. Still trying to measure Pettit.
It's that outside breaking ball that Richie Garcia has called a strike all night long. He was giving the pitchers the outside corner.
The 1-1. Grounded foul. Seventh inning. Rockies leading the Dodgers. We'll send you there next. Second half of our doubleheader. 14th inning here. Tie game. Yanks and Orioles. Game to first. Way back when, Kenny Rogers and David Wells were the starters in this game. Now the bottom of the 7th. Rockies still shutting out Los Angeles. 4-0. Runner goes, and Zahn hits it foul, third base side.
That time Tony Tarasco guessed right with Andy Pettit. He went on his first move, and that's what you have to do with a good pitcher like Pettit, he just went, the first thing he saw move was that foot. He had a great jump, but Zahn with 2 strikes had to go after the pitch and foul it off. When you've got a tough pitcher like an Andy Pettit or Kenny Rogers, and you're trying to steal, sometimes you just got to guess with him.
Not going. And Zahn sends one foul on the right side into the seats. 2 for 4, single, a home run, and a couple of errors tonight for Greg Zahn. You can see the rain continuing to fall here at Camden Yards. This game wraps up the 2-game miniseries. We're past the 5-hour mark in this game. They went 4:21 last night. Squinting through the rain for the sign from Girardi. Runner goes again. Swing and a miss by Zahn. Throw down. Out at second is Tony Tarasco as Andy Fox held on to the baseball. And yes, there will be a 15th inning when we come back to Camden Yards. Somebody, anybody looking for a run here in the 15th inning. Tony Tarasco.
He felt like he had a good jump, but then Joe Girardi throws the ball. Look at the effort by Andy Fox, who hangs in there, takes the short hop, and puts the tag on Tony Tarasco. A strike him out, throw him out, double play to get the Yankees out of the inning.
And we move to the top of the 15th. Yankees at bat. Wade Boggs will lead it off against Kent Mercker. Mercker and Pettit, a couple of starters. Although Mercker today, it was announced, is moving to the bullpen. They're on here because everybody else has been used. Third inning for Mercker. 2 balls and a strike. We're getting a little bit closer to the point where the curfew rule will come into play. This is an American League rule that states that no inning can begin after 1 o'clock local time. 2-2. We're not far away.
12:42:39. So if you play past 1 o'clock, you can't start a new inning after 1 o'clock.
Of course, they can always play a bottom half, but they cannot start a new inning past 1. Full count to Boggs. They have moved to the 8th in Los Angeles. Still 4-0 Colorado. Boggs fouls it back.
And now the rain has compounded the situation. Really coming down hard now.
You know what? The situation compounded the situation a few innings ago in this ballgame, the way this one has been played. 8 errors, 29 left on. And that is the 29th hit of the night, the 17th for the Yankees as Boggs is aboard with a leadoff single.
Davey Johnson trying to keep his club upbeat. They've had opportunity after opportunity to win this game, and after last night's defeat, it'd be tough to lose this one again.
Derek Jeter. He's on again with a nice scoop. He had one of those last inning as well.
Davey Johnson out to check with Kent Mercker to make sure the footing is satisfactory. Cleaning his spikes out. Now Richie Garcia is out there to check with him. Making sure that the mound isn't so slippery that it might put Mercker in danger of twisting a knee, spraining an ankle. Getting kind of sticky out there on that mound. This is the last pitch to Jeter. Goes through it, and a very good play by Zion.
Jeter squares, pulls it back, and takes ball 2-0. Jeter got the bunt down last time up, and that was where the Orioles bungled it. Merker threw it away, and the Yankees ended up with runners on second and third. The very same situation here. Boggs was at first, nobody out. That was 2 innings ago. This time he pushes it foul up the right side, 2-1.
I'd go ahead and gamble right here. Send the runner. Play hit and run. You haven't been able to get those base runners in anyway. See if you can go first and third. They expect to get a fastball. Here's bunting again. Hit him.
And he got hit. Jeter is down.
Merker really wild in this at bat to Jeter. They're looking at his left kneecap. Take a look and see if we can see where this ball hits him. Boy, right on the point of the knee. Ouch. This could present a problem if Jeter has to leave the game, but now he's up, moving around on it. They have Larritz on the bench. He could come in and play second base, I suppose, and then Fox could move to short, but Jeter appears to be okay. Now the Oriole trainer is out to check with his pitcher. Richie Garcia. What he wants to do is make sure that this thing doesn't get out of hand with the rain coming down now, and that nobody gets hurt in this situation.
The Yankees, of course, with 2 on and nobody out, probably a little bit more interested in continuing right now than the Orioles. A reminder, we'll send you to what remains of the second half of our doubleheader, Rockies and Dodgers.
And now it looks like they've called for the ground screw. Richie Garcia is motioning for the ground screw to come out and add some diamond dust to that mound to try to get the mound in good shape. Ken Merker is walking off the field. I don't know if he's going to go in and maybe put a new pair of spikes on.
The Orioles
now
have some arms out there.
Davey Johnson's on the mound, and he just waved to the bench to say no, 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 as if they're looking for a new pitcher, and that's what's happening. As they put diamond dust on the mound, Davey Johnson's calling for a new pitcher. That's Jimmy Myers coming out of the bullpen.
It gets weirder and weirder in Baltimore. Top of the 15th. O'Neill to bat when we come back.
Jimmy Myers pitched in last night's ball game. Came up 2-run single and 2-run home run. He retired just 1 batter. He will be working in his 10th game of the year. Just 12 innings, allowed 13 hits.
We told you that no full inning can begin after 1 o'clock local time. We're at the top of the 15th, so it is all but certain the 15th will be the final inning of this game tonight between the Orioles and the Yanks. If they can't get it in, then they'll pick it up the next time these two teams meet here, which is July the 11th, right after the All-Star game. Well, we have a moment. Let's get an update from Carl Ravitch. Carl.
All right, Dan, they don't have that time problem working in San Diego. Taking on the Giants. Showed you the great catch that Bonds made earlier to rob Ken Caminetti. Well, this time, only a fan can catch it. For Caminetti, his third. This to right center field comes off Doug Creek. San Diego on top of San Francisco by a score of 9-4. And the Rockies over the Dodgers 4-0. They're catching up in the bottom of the 8th. Now a good race. Which ends first? Your game, this game, or 1 a.m.? Back to you.
I get 1 a.m. You can have the field.
I think you got 1 a.m. is going to be strong here tonight.
They are gaining on us out in L.A. Jimmy Myers warming up. A delay because Merker left. They also got the grounds crew out to do a little maintenance on the mound. The rain was falling quite hard. Looks like it's backed off a little bit. And just one lone fielder out there for the Orioles now. Jeffrey Hammond's in left. And now that Jimmy Myers signals he's ready. Here come the Baltimore Orioles. 5 hours and 15 minutes after they charged out there raring to go the first time tonight. You got to get creative in a game this long. Jim Raines wants a piece of the action. No, just keeping himself occupied. This might be the only guy whose disposition and focus don't change no matter how long and how ridiculous the ball game around him are.
First pitch of the ball game to the last out of the game. Paul O'Neill is focused on having good at bats, and he's had a tough night. 0 for 6, including a walk. Started out hitting over 400 tonight.
Wade Boggs led off the top of the 15th. Base hit left center field. Then Derek Jeter was plunked in the knee as he squared to bunt. Yankees at first and second. Nobody out. Yet another chance for one of these teams to break the tie. Boy, have they had chances, and boy, have they not come through. A rare at bat against a righty tonight for a Yankee hitter. Jimmy Myers to Paul O'Neill.
O'Neill had a good swing at that pitch. He was right on that pitch and fouled it straight back into the screen. And all he tries to do is make sure that front leg gets to his starting position when the pitcher is in his ready position with that ball up over his shoulder. Right there. Another good swing. That front leg is his starting mechanism. That ball got on him a bit.
An 0-2 count. 2 on, nobody out. Jimmy Myers set. O'Neill taps it back to the mound, backhanded by Myers. Thought about second, settles for first. The runners move up.
Well, he really chose to make the right play. It's another big swing and a tapper back to the mound. And watch how he looks at second base. It would have been a tough play there at second. Probably had time to get the force out. Derek Jeter running with that bum leg after he got hit by Ken Merker. But he took the sure out at first. They can set up another bases loaded situation with another intentional walk. Third time tonight that Sierra has been given the free pass.
And 7th intentional walk overall. And that'll set up bases loaded, 1 out for a man who was the hero for the Yankees last night. Tino Martinez. He blasted a 3-run home run. Broke a 9-9 tie. The Yankees went on to win 13-10. What hasn't happened?
No grand slam yet.
Now, be honest. At any point, do the players and coaches on either side say, you know what? Let's win or lose. Let's end this thing.
No, really. Because you battle and fight and scratch and claw, and now you kind of get the resolve of, I'm not going to lose this thing. I'm going to do whatever I can to win it. The Yankees got a long night ahead of them anyway. Orioles got an off day tomorrow. Yankees are flying home to New York. They play the White Sox tomorrow night.
David Cone, and the Yankees will be looking for some innings. Tino Martinez is 1 for 6. Fly ball. Left field. Deep. Gone! You called it. Grand slam. Tino Martinez and the Yankees lead 10-6.
Now we've seen everything.
Even he's probably seen everything in 2,180 consecutive games.
They finally cash in all the base runners they've had on here in extra innings.
The inning continues for Bernie Williams. Tino Martinez, a 3-run home run last night to snap a tie. A grand slam tonight to snap a tie. Now Williams sends one to left field pretty deep. Back is Hammonds. This is over his head and off the wall. Bernie Williams into second base with his 5th hit of the night.
Now Tino Martinez now with 4 home runs is starting to heat up, and he had a pretty good pitch from Jimmy Myers. Fastball away from him, and he strokes it into the first row of seats in left field. A grand slam home run, and there's Derek Jeter to welcome him. Tino Martinez got his first home run last week against the Indians, and now he has 4, starting to heat up a bit.
Starting to smile a little more than in the first few weeks in the Bronx. Took him 66 at bats to come up with his first Yankee homer. He's got 4 in his last 32. The batter is Andy Fox. (10-6) New York, top of the 15th. On the hook for the loss now is Kent Mercker. And Andy Pettit could pick up a win. The 1-2 to Fox. Bounces in, blocked by Zahn, and Bernie Williams will hold at second. What a devastating couple of days this could be for the Orioles to lose 13-10 last night. And then looking like they're going to lose tonight in 15. Full count. Past 1 o'clock local time. Not as much of an issue now. The Yankees scoring the 4. Ground ball right side. Alomar has it. Stumbles a little. Throws out Fox on a very close play. Bernie Williams down to third.
Andy Fox can run. A couple of times tonight we've seen his speed. Alomar had trouble with his footing after he made the grab of the ground ball. Andy Fox hustling all the way, makes it very close at first base. Watch Alomar on this play. Fox pulls the ball on the right side. Alomar lays back, then comes and gets it, and then stumbles, and Fox almost beats it out.
Two down, runner at third, the batter Gerald Williams. That's a night and a half. Jimmy Myers works. Fouled off, 0-2. Four hours, 21 minutes. Last night, a 13-10 loss. 5.5 hours tonight. It looks like the Orioles are going to lose again. If they do, it'll be 11 losses in 14. Forgetting the silliness and the length of this game, it'll be 11 losses in 14 games, and the Yankees will have a game-and-a-half lead on Baltimore in the East. Down low, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Now the loss is significant, but probably more significant is the fact that they had so many opportunities to win the game. I wonder how many games Cal has seen from the bench this long. Came out of the game in the 8th inning for a pinch runner. But they have booted the ball around. They've made physical errors. They've made a bunch of mental mistakes tonight that have cost them. Palmeiro and Bobby Bonilla really not swinging up to their abilities. Manny Alexander had a base running mistake. Got picked off in the 8th. Bonilla, a couple of different opportunities to put the game away.
Gerald Williams with his 6th hit. And that will tie an all-time New York Yankee record. And I'm not familiar with the player, so I hope I don't butcher the name. Myril Hoag, or Myril Haag, said in 1934 had 6 hits, and Gerald Williams has just written his name into the Yankee record books.
And you can bet he doesn't realize that. An obscure number like that, you would think some Yankee at some point had maybe 7 hits, but 6 hits in a ball game. What a night for Gerald Williams.
Drives in another run, 11-6 New York. The batter, Girardi. Soft shot to first. Palmeiro has it. And the Orioles will walk off the field needing 5 runs to tie. Tino Martinez's grand slam has broken it open.
Buying a house.
And a little defense in this one. Hieronymo Baroa up.
Pitch from James.
Deep to left center field. Back goes Jimmy Edmonds. We've seen a great catch from Henderson. There's a great catch in this game from Jim Edmonds. 6-4. Elsewhere, the Rockies over the Dodgers, now heading into the bottom of the 9th inning. It is 4-1 in favor of Colorado. Thompson and Bruschi, your pitchers there. The good news is, Dan, it has to end.
Heading to the bottom of the 15th, the end appears to be in sight here for the New York Yankees, the Baltimore Orioles, and I'd say about 3,000 people who have stayed, 4,000.
Very hardy fans.
Andy Pettit looking for the win. Jeffrey Hammonds is the leadoff batter. Tino Martinez broke it open in the top half of the inning with a grand slam off Jimmy Myers. Myers only came in to replace Kent Mercker. Mercker was having trouble with his footing a couple of times. Davey Johnson went out, maybe some kind of an injury problem, and Mercker left. Hammonds hits it foul, 1-2. The Yankees really have been waiting all night to get some swings in on a right-hander. Roger McDowell had gone 2/3 of an inning. All the rest had been done by lefties. Wells, Orozco, Myers, Mercker, and they took advantage. Want to read the transactions file tomorrow for both of these teams, see if they get some emergency arms up here. Yankees play beginning of a 4-game series against the White Sox. Joe Torre will send David Cone to the mound, and then Jimmy Key's next, and both of them with somewhat uncertain health situations. Can you expect these guys to go 7-8 innings? Can you count on it?
No, you can't count on it, that's for sure.
Boggs throws out Hammonds, 1 down. Now we mentioned the hero tonight, Tino Martinez.
Now, last night, he had a 3-run home run off Keith Shepard, with the score tied 9-9 deep into the seats in right field. And then tonight against Jimmy Myers in the 15th inning, a grand slam home run.
Brady Anderson is up. His 8th at bat of the night. Orioles had their chances. Left a couple on in the 9th. Loaded the bases with 1 out in the 10th. Didn't score. Had 2 on with 1 out in the 11th. Couldn't score. Had 2 on in the 12th. Couldn't score. And on it went. Pettit strikes out Anderson, and now the end is definitely in sight as the Orioles are down to their final out.
Andy Pettit drops a nasty curveball on Brady Anderson here. Anderson can't pull the trigger. Second strikeout for Pettit. He's allowed 2 hits since coming on in the 13th.
Roberto Alomar steps in. Andy Pettit, a night after getting shellacked, giving up 8 earned runs as Alomar keeps the game alive. Base hit center field. Pettit looking for the win tonight after starting and getting bombed last night.
First baseman, Rafael Palmeiro.
Palmeiro will try to keep it alive. Long couple of days for Davy Johnson. Ground ball to second. Fox has it, and finally this game is over. 15 innings, 5.5 hours later, the Yankees have defeated the Orioles 11-6. The final, New York 11 to Baltimore 6. Let's send you to Los Angeles to Dwayne Statz and Dave Campbell.
Last September, Camden Yards hosted what may have been the longest standing ovation love fest in sporting history. And now, less than 2 baseball months later, that same classic clock at Camden looked down on another legendary event. After an offseason in which they went toe-to-toe and piling up the 2 biggest payrolls in baseball, Baltimore and New York paraded almost all of them onto the field Tuesday to amass a game nearly as long as Ripken's streak. 4 hours and 21 minutes, the longest 9-inning game ever. Wednesday, 2 of their biggest offseason catches collided on the mound. And another marathon in the making, Kenny Rogers facing Brady Anderson, who wasted no time in going deep. For the 5th time this year, he leads off the game with a home run. It's his 12th of the year. He tied the April record with 11. May Day, Anderson is back in it. 1-all game in the 2nd. Wells now facing Gerald Williams. And Gerald hits a 2-run shot. Yanks take back the lead 3-1. Bottom of the 7th, they're still up by a run, 6-5. Steve Howe on in relief. Jeffrey Hammond's aboard. Roberto Alomar gets into one. Jacks at the dead center, looks it over. But so does Bernie Williams. At the wall, loses his hat, but makes the grab and takes away a homer. To the 8th, another rally in the making. Bonilla aboard. Manny Alexander pinch running for Cal Ripken. And Manny pinch running is pinched. Falls for the old fake to third, throw to first, and Jeff Nelson nailed him. Bottom of the 9th now. Still that 1-run game. Greg Zahn. Mariano Duncan makes a nice play and then throws it away. No way to get Zahn. 3 errors for Duncan this game. Zahn came around to tie it at 6, but then Jim Messier struck out Anderson in the 10th. Rafael Palmeiro was 90 feet away when Messier struck out Alexander. We're after midnight to the 13th. Bases loaded for Tino Martinez, but he grounds into a 4-6-3 DP. 2 innings later, we're in the 15th. They walked Sierra to hope for another double play, but it was anything but. With the bases juiced off Jimmy Myers, Tino touches them all. A grand slam that ended in grand fashion 5.5 hours after it began. 5:34 to be exact. Myers was the 6th Oriole pitcher used. 13 pitchers in all in this game. Williams, who we showed you a long time ago hitting that homer in the 2nd, went 6 for 8, knocked in 3, raised his average 75 points in this affair to 383. Andy Pettit gets the win. The night before, he went 1 inning and gave up 8 earned runs. What a tandem of time it has been in Camden Yards. Nearly 10 hours in the making, nearly 2 dozen pitchers, almost 900 pitches thrown.